Jingle bells, Batman smells. Robin laid an egg. Batmobile lost a wheel and the Joker got away. Hey!
The best Christmas song ever right there.
I heard it, though, TJ, I heard the Joker took ballet, though.
Joker took ballet.
Is that the new woke version of it? Because he can't get away with a crime?
I don't know.
So he takes ballet now?
You know what?
Ballet, man.
You know what?
So what if the Joker wants to take ballet?
You know
What's
what,
wrong
Paul?
with that?
You're a Hollywood slave, Paul.
Am I?
Just like Eddie Murphy. You hear about that? Eddie Murphy made fun of Bill Cosby in his opening monologue on SNL, which, by the way, was a huge ratings bonanza for SNL, apparently.
Well, nowhere
Is
to
he
go.
coming? Is he coming back to it like permanently?
No, he just hosted.
Oh, okay.
But he reprised a lot of his old sketches, like he did the Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood and Gumby and a bunch of his classic sketches.
It sounds like Eddie Murphy's having like a renaissance, dude.
Yeah, he's kind of made a resurgence. That's pretty cool. But his new movie, Dolomite Is My Name, I watched. I thought it was pretty good.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
It's pretty good. I mean, it's kind of returned to form, honestly.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there, man.
And I guess he did really well on SNL. The ratings, it was a ratings bonanza for them. But he made fun of Cosby on there. He made a joke of basically like, if you told me 30 years ago that I'd be this boring, dad of 10 kids, because he has 10 fucking kids, and Bill Cosby'd be in jail, even I wouldn't have taken that bet. And then he did a Bill Cosby impression. He's like, "Who's America's dad now?" And it was pretty good shade.
Damn.
But I guess Bill Cosby's like PR rep or whatever the fuck responded by saying that Eddie Murphy is a Hollywood slave. And, Bill Cosby helped break black comedians off the plantation, but people like Eddie Murphy just couldn't wait to go back and enslave themselves to Hollywood.
They're trying to ride his legacy, and like honestly, that some of that is true. Like Bill Cosby was a dude.
He
that
broke
kind of
barriers for sure.
Absolutely barrier breaking in terms of stand up comedy for black people, but he also raped 90 people.
That's what I'm saying. So no one's remembering that part of his story. I'm like, yeah, I don't doubt that at all. But when you're also accused of raping 100 people and you're in prison for it, like
little bit of this, little bit of that,
I mean, Hitler put food on a lot of plates, but come on.
He fed the hungry. He was also exterminated the Jews.
Hitler fucking instituted universal health care in Germany, man.
What could he say?
Took care of a lot of people.
Some good, some bad. A mixed bag.
You're just a slave to history, TJ. Trying to point out one little bad thing he did with the Jews to sully the name of Adolf Hitler. A true saint.
He was a good man, no? He did a lot of good things. Yeah, but whatever. I don't really understand. I don't really understand why Cosby. I mean, like Cosby has bigger problems than Eddie Murphy throwing shade at him. So I don't know why.
It is a good point, though. Like if you had told me back in the '90s when the Cosby Show was huge, in the late '80s, that like Bill Cosby was going to be in jail for raping a bunch of people, like
you'd be like, what?
Excuse me? Get out of here. The truth is stranger than fiction, always. You couldn't write that shit.
I mean, Eddie Murphy was such like a vulgar comedian at that time. Yeah, you would never have. That's insane.
And he's a family man.
Yeah. I mean, that's less
10 kids and all that.
That
bullshit.
one is less surprising to me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
A lot of people settle down to be family men, but not a lot of people, have giant fucking household name careers and end up raping a bunch of people along the way.
Yeah.
You know what? I bet they do actually. Bill ain't the only one that's been pulling some shit like this, dude.
Oh, no, definitely not, man.
Weinstein got caught doing it too. So are we to believe that these were just two isolated incidents?
Oh no, dude. As soon as I'm pretty sure when you get like a certain amount of wealth, Paul, and power.
And the latest in the Tom Hanks rape dungeon story.
Oh man, don't even say it. Don't even fucking say it, dude. Not Tom Hanks, man. Come on, he's like so wholesome.
17 women chained in Tom Hanks's basement.
I couldn't help it. Like, what the hell?
We're still discovering more bodies buried in the backyard of his palatial Beverly Hills mansion.
Yep. In the latest in the Samuel L. Jones serial rape trial,
Samuel Jones?
Jackson.
I'm Samuel L. Jones.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Get these caterpillars off the plane.
What's next? We're gonna discover some old SS pictures with like Mr. Rogers. You know what I mean? Like, what's gonna happen, man?
Mr. Rogers had a quote extensive Nazi memorabilia collection. End quote. And you're like, what?
Why?
It's all going to shit. I love it.
At that point, in that reality, I'd rather just live the lie. Like, can we just go back, like, last 10 years just didn't happen?
Ignorance is bliss, man.
Day number 722 of the Bill Murray child rape scandal. What?
Stop it, man.
You're a monster.
Just stop. Anyway, Merry Christmas, everybody. It is Christmas Day when this is airing. We're shooting it on the Monday before Christmas.
Yeah, that's true.
But for
true.
you guys,
way to break the illusion.
So you guys time traveled.
For you guys, it's Christmas though. So let us know let us know what presents you got or gave or whatever the fuck. But we have an important question to answer today, and these episodes usually run a little long, so we could probably dispense with the banner at this point and just get into the fucking matter. So let me ask you guys, or actually, fuck asking you guys anything. You guys suck.
Damn.
What do we do?
You're garbage.
Where's your Christmas spirit,
It's
man?
Christmas.
Dude,
Know?
Are we supposed
Christmas.
to be brotherhood and all that shit right now? We suck?
Yeah, you guys suck.
Dude, it's Christmas.
Check it
TJ.
out. Check it out. Check it out.
All right.
Sorry. I'm just trying to buy for time while I fucking get all my shit in order
Of
here.
course.
So, look, you can find countless fundamentalist Christian screeds about how Santa Claus is like the enemy of Christ. This is an actual sign. This is not like one of these like spoof signs or like one of these fake generated signs on the internet. This was a real sign.
Right.
Santa is the Christian. Did you ever meet anybody like this? When I was in school, I remember there were a lot of kids.
Oh, yeah.
Who were like brainwashed by Christianity that would be like, Santa is actually, he's an acronym of Satan. So they got the same letters.
I mean, I've
Santa
heard that
and
before.
Satan,
Well,
and I remember kids in my school being like treating like that like it was like a smoking gun,
See, I don't remember having any kids in my school's anti-Santa.
Right. Well, we did because we were fucking stupid.
Yeah, we grew up in Louisiana.
Yeah,
I remember like that. That was really
that
weird.
Santa and the damn devil taking all the glory away from Jesus.
It was really weird hearing like the talking pieces of like conservative Christians come to the mouth of kids because it was like just even more dumbed down than it already is. Just like my parents said that Santa is evil and we will be worshiping Jesus instead.
Dude, if a kid had said something like that back when I was in school, he would have been laughed out of the school.
I mean, we did.
Nobody fucking was anti-Santa back in the day. Everybody liked Santa. I met one kid one time who was a Jehovah's Witness.
Of course.
Who wasn't allowed to even celebrate, holidays and shit. But that was it. One Jehovah's Witness kid.
So, it's part of the zeitgeist, part of like a really strong fundamentalist strain of Christianity to like be anti-Santa, because they view him as taking, attention away from Jesus.
Of course.
Even if we go back to a couple libertarian dorks who were funny 20 years ago, they knew Santa and Jesus were natural enemies. Because Matt Stone and Trey Parker, they created an animated short called The Spirit of Christmas back in 1992. Now, a lot of people mistakenly think that this is the Santa versus Jesus episode. This is actually not. This was actually Jesus versus Frosty the Snowman.
Right.
But they remade the short in 1995, and in that version, it was actually Santa versus Jesus. And this is, of course, the version that actually got popular, and it was getting passed around college campuses and stuff like that. And it was actually on the strength of this short and the underground sort of popularity of it that, Matt Stone and Trey Parker were eventually greenlit to do their show South Park, which revolutionized TV animation before slipping slowly into tepid mediocrity and then into complete ass before ascending back to tepid mediocrity, which everyone now thinks is a return to form because they're only comparing it to the complete ass seasons and not the actually good seasons that, came before. I don't know why I felt the need to throw shade at Matt and Trey for this, but
I was going to tell you, by the way, a bunch of South Park fans are firing up their keyboards right about now.
I'm aware.
I love how big they made Santa's belly.
Yeah, dude.
You like
a really fat Santa, don't you?
Oh yeah, dude. for sure. He's got to be like
Let me ask you
huge.
this. If you watch a movie or something and there's a Santa that's like only like kind of chubby or even worse, like just totally skinny, does that piss you off?
Of course.
Yes.
It pisses me off too.
I think it's kind of supposed to. Like you'll notice in movies they do thinner mall Santas a lot, and I think it's to make them look like cut rate Santas.
Oh, definitely.
Because Santa is supposed to be like not just plump. He's supposed to be fucking rotund.
It shook when he
Portly.
laughed like a bowl full of jelly.
right.
But Santa should be like big and imposing. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like big, but also fat. Yeah, like you have to have the right build to be. You can't be a skinny guy and be Santa. Don't work.
Yeah, I never understood. I mean, like some movies, they like that Miracle on 34th Street, both the original and the remake cast like kind of skinnier dudes as Santa. And I'm like, man, that ain't fucking Santa, dude.
Yeah.
Get that scrawny little piece of shit out of here.
It's just an old man lost in a big, giant, oversized red suit.
Oh,
Give me a
no.
big, blubba-gumptious Santa, man.
South Park understood Santa because I like their version.
They
of Santa.
understood the true meaning of fucking Santa. There's been board game. There's a board game. This was a Kickstarter here. You see some wacky hijinks going on. This is Santa versus Jesus, the epic party game. It was actually funded in 48 hours, so it was super popular, immediately resonated with people.
Sweet.
You can buy it on Amazon. Its ratings are kind of so-so, but obviously the idea appeals to people because it's just like I don't know. We just know on some level, I think, that Santa and Jesus are fucking enemies, man. They're not friends. You can find all kinds of imagery and all kinds of pop culture references of these two pitted against one another. And I think it's because we know that they both are trying to lay claim to Christmas. And we know that Christmas is not, as big as it is not big enough for the both of them. So, but you know what? Forget all this shit. Forget everything that's happened before. Forget all the fucking board games and South Park episodes and Jesus God-bothering bullshit. That's all just a fucking precursor to tonight when we decide once and for all which of these fucking entities, I don't know what exactly the question we asked. I guess we're just asking which one's better between Santa and Jesus, because only Deep Fat Fried is powerful enough to objectively determine the true winner in this classic Christmas rivalry.
That's true. I mean, who's better equipped?
No one on earth. Look, we've every time we've pitted two things against each other, we have come up with the objective, indisputable truth of the matter. Because that's just our power. That's like if we had a superpower, it would be the power to determine things with absolute objectivity.
You don't want to talk to some
beyond any sort of discussion.
Look, who you gonna talk to? You gonna talk to some fucking preacher, some pastor? They don't know shit. You gonna talk to
They're
a
biased.
scientist? They don't know any fucking thing. They're all liars.
So it's time to decide once and for all not only who's the better Christmas icon, but which of these two beings is the greater and more deserving of our worship, love, and devotion, just in a general sense.
Got it.
But Christmas is the perfect time, the perfect stage for the battle. So let's do a little brief introduction here. Fighting out of the red corner, standing at 6'1" and weighing in at 302 pounds, jolly old Saint Nick, Kris Kringle, Father Christmas, Santa motherfucking Claus!
Nice.
Oh, yeah. And fighting out of the white corner, standing at 5'7", weighing in at 138 pounds, the Lamb of God, the light of the world, the King of the Jews, Jesus, the Savior Christ!
Boo.
You don't like Jesus, huh?
I'm rooting for Santa.
Without further ado, let's take a look at our categories here. So, who's the more powerful?
Santa.
Who offers the better deal?
Santa.
Who's more likable?
Santa.
Who's scarier?
Santa.
Santa.
Who's more marketable?
Santa.
Who's got the better look?
Santa.
Who best captures the true meaning of Christmas?
Santa.
These are our fucking questions. And Paul, you're too biased at the gate. You gotta pull it, rein it back, Paul.
I'm gonna say we might have to just cancel this episode. Paul seems like
Santa.
Paul's already made a determination.
He's already decided.
Santa
dude.
wins again.
All right, well that's the episode. Paul's decided.
Merry Christmas,
See you
everybody.
guys. Merry Christmas, and thanks for tuning in.
No. I'll set aside my fanboyism of Santa. We'll be objective as always.
So as per usual, the way this works is we're going to go through 7 categories. There's 3 of us, so there should never be a tie in terms of, our votes. There's no splitting of votes or anything. And Scotty's tried it a few times.
I want to try it again.
I want to give half my vote to this and half my vote to that.
No. You got to decide. So there's no ties, and we got 7 categories, so there's no ties there. There's no possibility of any sort of tie here.
It's going to be a tie.
There's going to be a fucking winner. Each category, we each get 1 vote. Whoever has the most votes wins the fucking category. Whoever has the most categories won at the end of the episode is the fucking overall winner. It's pretty goddamn simple,
so
pretty
they win.
basic.
This is like who wins Christmas.
No, this is just who's better in general.
But I mean, if you pick who's better in general, they basically win.
Yeah,
Christmas.
they get Christmas.
They get Christmas.
They get Christmas. That's their prize.
I mean, we're basically
the
talking about
superior
who
being
gets
takes Christmas and says no. So kick Christ out of Christmas or kick Santa out of Christmas. That's your fucking choice here.
Yep.
And we got to make a decision. All right? So the first category is, of course, who's more powerful? What's the power level here of these entities? Is it over 9,000? Can we use that meme? Can we use an old meme?
That should be a meme, TJ.
It should, huh?
It's an old meme.
You should
old
post that on your
Oh.
MySpace.
I'm gonna put it on the MySpace page.
Email it to your grandma, TJ.
Grandma, have you seen this dank Dragon Balls meme?
You should post that on the Yahoo message boards.
Oh, damn.
So this category might seem to some like a wash, since Jesus, is like the personification of the creator of the entire universe.
Mm-hmm.
But when you really think about it, Jesus' powers seem to fall pretty short of God's powers.
Well, that's debatable.
I mean,
Because
we'll look at it.
Right.
We're gonna look at a description of everything Jesus has done in terms of his powers, and we can kind of decide from there. But if you have a point about it, you could bring it up now.
Well, I'm just saying that Jesus might not have literally created new universes and shit while he was down here, but that doesn't mean he couldn't.
That's true.
Because he's supposed to be, part of the triune God.
Yeah, but we never did see him demonstrate the abilities that God did. Like God created everything. God was,
but he is God.
Flooded the earth at one point.
But he is God. He was part of God.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming that he must lose some of his power in human form because
chooses not to use his power.
Maybe
He's like
that's
Dr.
it.
Manhattan.
Oh, okay. Well, let's look at Santa's abilities. Let's ask ourselves about that. So, what are some of Santa's abilities? So, number one that just immediately struck me was omniscience. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake.
Why does this Santa make me so horny?
I
I want this Santa to hold me down and fuck me for Christmas.
All I want for Christmas is you. He knows, Paul, if you've been bad or good.
I mean,
So be good, for goodness sake.
Oh,
Okay.
shit.
Santa clearly has super speed. He's able to visit all these
Well, hold on.
houses.
I got a full list here.
Okay, you have a whole list. All right.
So Santa sees all, he knows all. So there's no disputing that. I mean, the song makes it clear. It's the mythology of Santa. Like, Santa doesn't work without omniscience. So he's got it. He must have that.
Right.
So I thought at first, Scotty, that you were right about the super speed thing. And he might possess that ability, but I don't think we can explain how he's able to do the feat of delivering presents to billions of houses every Christmas simply with speed.
Yeah, he bends time and space, TJ.
Yeah, that's what I decided. He has the ability to alter time and space and matter.
What?
Santa delivers, well, I'll explain. Santa delivers presents all over the world in a single night.
Uh-huh.
He's visiting billions of households in a tiny time window. So does he possess super speed? I can't really say no, but it can't just be that. He's always, because
At a certain level of speed, he could finish the whole task in a second.
Sure.
So if he's just got ultra speed.
We know from some of the Christmas lore that he takes his time in those houses. He's not in a rush. He's in there. He's gingerly eating cookies and stuff, and he's laughing with those bowls full of jelly. Like we know from the night before Christmas kind of shit. That he ain't rushing like a fucking speed demon through these fucking places. So I think it's obvious to me that he has the ability to alter the properties of time itself. And how does he deliver gifts to apartments? There's no chimney in an apartment. There's houses that don't have chimneys.
Of course.
And he doesn't break in. You don't wake up in the morning and find the window broken and shit. So he obviously has the ability to bend space and matter to his will. He can shrink down. He can open up doorways where none existed before. He can create a chimney out of fucking nothing and just go through that.
Maybe he's just got teleportation.
Yeah, he could also have the ability to teleport. That's another possible explanation.
That would remove the need for him to be able to bend time and space. Because if he had super speed and he was able to well, I guess that doesn't explain how he's spending time over there, though.
Right.
Still, he can't spend like 3 minutes shaking like a bowl full of jelly in every house.
Exactly. So, I'm assuming there's got to be some sort of like time almost freezes for him.
Maybe he can, or he can be in many places at once.
And you also have to. He has another reason that I think he has to have the ability to bend matter and space is because he's able to fit presents for billions of people in one tiny sleigh.
Well, maybe he's extra dimensional though.
Yeah.
Maybe he exists in the fourth dimension when all 3 dimensions below it are a single point.
That's true.
So he can just kind of exist everywhere because
whatever the case may be, though, he's obviously got some crazy fucking powers in that regard.
Yeah, you got to give it that.
So super strength. Now this one's kind of debatable because if he does have that ability to manipulate matter and space, that might explain how he's able to carry such a large load and stuff.
Right.
But typical depictions of Santa do show him carrying a pretty large sack of toys on his back all through the night. So we have to assume that if not superhuman strength, he's at least a strong man.
What if we're wrong about this? What if his strength is more like artifact based? Like what if that bag that he has is like a bag of infinite holding or whatever?
Right, it could be.
You know what I mean?
So if that's the case, then we can attribute bag of infinite holding to.
A lot of the lore around Santa, like his power to fly around and do everything, comes from his reindeer. So maybe he's just a normal dude that's collected super powerful artifacts that allow him to do this job.
That's very possible. But whatever the case may be, obviously it grants him some. He's got to be kind of strong. The demands of the job.
He can't be a weak little pussy.
He's not a little pussy. He might not be like a superhuman in terms of his strength, but I think it's fair to say that Santa's probably at least a strong dude.
The question is, and I know the answer to it already, but the question as I see it is, if Santa snapped, how bad could he fuck you up?
Oh, horribly.
And
Santa would destroy you.
Whether
dude.
he's a fourth dimensional being or he has these powerful artifacts or he has super speed and super strength.
The answer is he could fuck your shit up real bad.
If he decided he wanted to fuck you over, he could leave, more than just presents under your tree.
And there's obviously, since he can get into anywhere, there's nowhere that you're safe from him.
Right. He could just get you anywhere. Yeah. You can't escape him.
So another ability that he has is immortality, or at the very least, super longevity.
Right.
Because he's been around for hundreds of years, and he hasn't aged at all as far as we can tell. He's still in basically the same condition he's ever been. So it's obvious that
slowing down.
The normal human lifespan has no power over him whatsoever. He has conquered death, or at least kept it at bay.
Doesn't the fact that he's an old man refute that?
I just kind of assume that whatever power set he got as an old man, and he's just kind of trapped in that
perpetual old man.
I just think that's whenever because he used to be a human, right? He was Saint Nicholas or whatever,
right?
And obviously, after he died he transformed into this supernatural entity.
That's a theory, but maybe it's like, he's a being from another dimension, and the only way our mind can perceive him is as this old man, dude.
Yeah, who knows what his?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
we might not even be
those
seeing
abilities
his true
and
form.
powers.
We don't know.
This might just be the form that Santa reveals himself to us, so our human minds are able to understand what Santa's all about.
That's true.
Santa is really just some huge, giant, bulging sack of flesh with cysts all over it and 1,000 mouths.
Maybe. Could be.
That's how you say Santa's name in his tongue.
We don't know.
Super intelligence. Think about the job of being Santa. Not only do you have to know who's being naughty and who's nice, you have to know where they live, what they want, what route to take to get there, all that stuff.
And a lot of people travel during this time of year, so
right.
Santa has to have you
got to know
doubly hard.
Oh, fucking little Billy's on vacation to fucking Bermuda, so you got to know that. You got to be aware of everything that's going on with everybody at all times and have the logistics in place and make sure you've got the fucking toys that they need delivered to them on time with a 100% success rate and track record. And you got to oversee a giant factory with elf labor and shit. You got a fucking army of elves. They don't, and there's very little complaints going on. It's a logistical fucking nightmare, but he makes it work. Like, it seems totally seamless.
I mean, if you think about like Amazon's business model is pretty much like modeled after Santa Claus's operation. It's
look what they have to do. They've got 1 billion warehouses. Santa's running this whole op out of a fucking workshop and
that's what I'm saying. That's what
and
makes
it's all
it more
in
impressive.
and it's all in that noodle of his. So he's obviously got some sort of superhuman intelligence that is not something that is possessed by a normal human being. Now let's talk about some of the things that he has at his disposal as well, like elf slave labor. Now we don't know the elves are necessarily slaves, but I ain't seen them get paid, so
I ain't seen them at all.
They don't need to get paid, TJ.
You cannot underestimate, and you can't. I mean, the elves obviously are very resourceful because all these products and stuff that are manufactured by all these different corporations and companies and things. But the elves are all making their cheap North Pole knockoffs of all that shit. Oh, you want a Sony fucking whatever the fuck? Yeah, I'll get you a PS4, no problem.
Throw that together real quick.
Elf just fucking knows how to make that, no problem. The elf can make you a fucking 360. He can make you a fucking PS4. He can make you a fucking Nintendo Switch, whatever you want.
An Xbox 360.
Yeah. Whatever the new one is.
Okay, boomer. Okay, boomer.
Well, what's the new one? Is the Xbox One the newest one?
Yeah, the kids
I don't play video games.
Newfangled video games,
It make you the Nintendo.
Back in my day, there used to be 1 or 2 different video games you could get. You had the Atari, you had the Nintendo.
Hey, you kids want a
Get
Sega?
your Atari.
You want a Sega, Scotty?
I'm just saying, the elves know how to make all that shit across the board.
That's good.
Whatever the fucking latest gadget or gizmo is, they're on it.
What if you're retro, though?
That's what I'm saying. Well, that's what I was doing with
What
the
if
360 thing. I was just being retro.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Never mind.
They could make you one if you wanted one.
So, flying reindeer. Santa controls 8 of those. 9 if you count that demon freak Rudolph with a red nose. And, obviously the reindeer are capable of flight. Santa is able to communicate with them, so I don't know if that means he has the community to communicate with all animals or just with his particular reindeer or what.
I guess we have to ask, though, does Santa have super sight? Because he did need Rudolph, though, to see that one night.
That's true.
So, super sight might be one of the little weaknesses.
I think that maybe Santa was just trying to help Rudolph out.
That's true. It could just be
because he is notoriously good natured, so we don't know. I mean, it could have just been like his way of getting the other reindeer to get past their bigotry and prejudice.
It does give you pause, though, TJ. 'Cause maybe Santa had a little bit of trouble seeing.
Reindeer have hooves, Scotty, not paws.
I mean, if he had the power to manipulate matter, why wouldn't you just blow the fog away?
True. Super resistance to cold and heat. So, I mean, you think about this guy's flying in an open-air sleigh through one of the coldest nights of the year. Obviously, cold is not affecting him the way it does you or me.
Well, coldest nights of the year in one hemisphere of the planet. He's also got to be able to tolerate some swampy-ass heat.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, he has to have a super resistance to heat, too, just because of the fact that, a lot of people, he comes down chimneys, and obviously a lot of times people are burning fires on Christmas.
Well,
so.
Not only that, but it's high summer in some places that celebrate Christmas.
And he's all over the fucking globe, and he's in a hot fucking red jacket and big, so like, he's got to deliver to Florida, he's got to deliver to Maine, he's wearing the same thing in both places. Obviously, we don't know what the level of imperviousness he has but he has strong resistance to both heat and cold.
Clearly.
So that was pretty much when I went through the list of Santa's abilities. Those were the things that really kind of stuck with me. And I think at the end of the day, you're left with a pretty fucking formidable being.
I don't disagree. I mean, it's hard to know how limited his power set is. Like, could he do evil with his powers, or is he just limited to?
I think that it's fair to say that if Santa went crazy and snapped, he could fucking do some pretty serious damage. I mean, if he's capable of visiting every home in the world in a night and getting in pretty much instantaneously, no matter what sort of security measures you have going on. I mean, that alone makes him dangerous. Because he can come and slit your throat in your fucking sleep
But
if he wants to.
he's the spirit of Christmas, though. Is he even allowed to be negative and evil? Maybe he's just like hamstrung by the intent.
I think that we'll find when we look at the scarier side of Santa that he is capable
Oh, yeah.
Oh God.
of some evil and severity.
I think you're underestimating Santa, Paul.
I think that you're underestimating. I think you're,
no.
if you think there's no dark side to Christmas, I don't know what to tell you, man. There is.
Shit.
Christmas is not all joy and good cheer. There's a fucking evil side to Christmas. Even fucking, just watch A Christmas Carol. You see the ghost of Christmas future. He don't look like a friendly guy. Looks like pretty much the Grim Reaper. Anyway, let's go over the powers of Jesus. Because Jesus got some powers, too.
Damn, this is swole Jesus.
Oh, yeah. I picked swole pictures of both of them.
Beefcake Jesus.
I know, man. I was like, whoa.
So who is more sexually attracted to you, Paul? Is it hot Santa or hot
For sure
Jesus?
Santa. I mean, hot Jesus is. I mean, I'm not really usually attracted to muscly dudes, but
Hot Santa's a weird exception.
Yeah, hot Santa did something. This is. I don't know.
So, what are some of the powers we know for a fact Jesus has? So we know he has super healing abilities because that was one of the main things he did. He went around, any illness or malady that you had, Jesus could cure it, whether it be blindness,
Death,
leprosy, paralysis. Well, that's the next. We have that a little bit later because that's almost like a whole other level of it. But yeah, he had the ability to resurrect the dead. There's Lazarus, and there's a few other examples as well. And Jesus didn't use that power super often, but he did clearly have it in his arsenal.
Yeah.
He was also capable of performing exorcisms, which means he's able to conquer demons and spirits. Now we don't see too many demon possessions these days, but if we did, flash the Jesus signal because he's like pretty much the MVP of that shit. You got some demons, he'll clear them right the fuck out. Even if there's a bunch of them, you might have like 50 demons, and he's just like, get out of there, get into a bunch of pigs and run off a cliff. He'd do that shit. Jesus has some level of mastery over nature, which makes sense, being the Son of God. He turned water into wine. It's a pretty famous one.
Yep.
I don't know if that's necessarily too useful in a fight, but maybe you could turn water into something else.
He fed like 1,000 people with loaves and fishes.
Yeah, he could walk on water.
Yeah.
He once showed the ability to control the weather. There was a storm raging, and he didn't feel like dealing with it, so he actually rebuked the storm, and the storm calmed down. So nature itself was like, "Oh shit, don't piss off Jesus."
Right.
As Paul mentioned, he did the loaves and the fishes thing, fed thousands on just a handful of
Dude,
loaves
what about
and fishes.
fucking walked on water, TJ?
I already said that. He walked on water.
I didn't hear you say it.
Well, I said it. There's a story about a fig tree that I guess pissed off Jesus somehow, and Jesus.
It didn't give him a fig, dude.
Yeah, Jesus bitched at the fig tree, and it withered and died on the spot.
Damn.
And it's just like total
Sorry.
obedience to Jesus and his power. So Jesus' powers are a little bit more well defined than Santa's. Like we kind of know where Jesus derives his power from. It's from him being the personification of God.
Right.
Santa's a little bit more vague where his powers come from, and we have a better idea of the skill set. With Jesus, it's kind of just like, where's the ceiling on his power? Is he as powerful as God, or is him taking human form kind of sacrifice some of those powers?
Yeah, that really is the question we have to try and figure out here. Because, I mean, if he's God, then he's the ultimate omniscience, the ultimate omnipresence, can do anything he wants at any point, and just chose to limit his powers. Or is he limited to the more earthly examples that we've given here?
Right.
Some basic control over nature, some basic ability to see into the hearts of men.
So the power that I think is most impressive of the ones I listed is probably resurrecting the dead. That's a pretty impressive power, and the fact that he was able to change the weather. But I mean, if the greatest feat of his power is changing the weather, then that puts him pretty much on the power level of like Storm from X-Men.
Right. But I remember that story from the Bible. It's not like it takes him a ton of fucking.
No, he pretty much just
he just kind of
tells
dismisses the storm.
Yeah, he's like, "Fuck you, Storm," and it just goes.
Right.
It's like, all right.
So it's not like he was really like, if he was really pushing the limits of his power, then it would have been a much bigger feat for him. So we got to assume that if he can just dismiss a storm, he can cause one. He could, where does that stop?
Yeah, so we don't really know. Like, it's kind of hard to know what the ceiling is on the power
And
of
also,
Jesus.
we have to admit, we've never heard about Santa resurrect anybody.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, resurrection's a pretty powerful thing, TJ. I mean, like, someone dies, you can just bring them back. Like, oh, you're dead, never mind.
Santa had to get a fucking freak reindeer to get him through some fog.
Possibly.
Jesus would have just been like, I rebuke thee, fog.
Get out of here, fog.
Hit
Yeah.
thee hence, and it would have been just evaporated before him,
This fog annoys me.
And plus, we're just talking about Jesus when he's alive, but Jesus is still alive. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Well, let's ask
He's
ourselves
still
this.
an entity, and he's ascended to heaven.
Do you think Jesus
And
could
now
do
he
Santa-
rules in heaven. But
Do
I'm,
you guys think Jesus could do Santa's job?
Yeah. I think if Jesus wanted to do Santa's job, I think he could, because like we're talking about Jesus when he was on the earth displayed these types of powers, but he's gone up there now. He's become part of God, so now he definitely has godly powers.
I hate to say it, TJ, but if you can answer yes to that and more, I have to answer Jesus then.
well, let me see. So what criteria does Jesus possess omniscience? Well, if he has godly powers, then clearly he does.
Yes.
Right. And plus he has to.
Does he have
because-
the ability to alter time and space and matter? Clearly he has that as well.
Yes. Yeah. I have to say he does.
I don't think he doesn't have super strength, but it's not clear that Santa does either. Immortality, well, he was killed in his earthly form, but he has a spiritual form that has ascended to heaven,
Right.
so
Yeah, he was
I
resurrected.
mean, even when we were talking about Santa, we talked about briefly the possibility that he's just the ghost of Saint Nick.
yeah, or some kind of reincarnation or some
Right.
kind of spiritual being or
Which,
something.
if that's the case, then Jesus is exactly that. He was,
Santa has elf slave labor. Jesus has his own followers, maybe not quite as as meticulous as the elves, but they're out there.
I mean, he's got a whole host of angels, right?
Jesus has the ability to fly, right? He ascended to heaven.
Yeah,
You got to
so-
assume that's some kind of like a Superman thing. So he could fly around. He doesn't need reindeer to do it. Does he have super resistance to heat and cold? I mean, in his earthly form, I don't know. That's not really clear. But he could just dismiss it from his presence anyway.
Right.
So
Just make it hot. Make it a hot day if you're cold.
yeah, I think you got to go with Jesus on this one, just because we don't really know what the ceiling of Jesus' power is.
We don't
And
really know what
yeah.
the ceiling of Santa's power
That's
is.
true. We could be wrong about this. Santa could be every bit pound for pound as powerful as Jesus, but we got to go by what we know about these characters. And I just think that, I mean, it seems to me like Jesus, just knowing that he might have the abilities of the all-powerful God of the universe, I mean, it kind of makes it like it
has to give you a leg up in that.
it puts him at, I mean, like it puts him at a fucking advantage. I mean, if you look at him, I guess it depends on what your interpretation is of the Trinity. Because if you think of Jesus as being a separate entity from God, then which some divisions of Christianity do, then maybe he doesn't have those powers. Maybe he does fall short. But if you think of him and God as one and the same, as part of this trinity of beings that are somehow all one being, doesn't really make sense. But if you think of it like that, then you'd have to say he's if he shares the powers of the Almighty, then he is Almighty, and you have to say he's more powerful than Santa. And
We have to crucify Santa and see if he survives it.
well, Santa's earthly body definitely seems to be more durable than Jesus's.
Oh yeah, dude.
It seems like he's taken a lot
Santa
more wear
would
and
take
tear.
that. Santa would take that. Fucking have no problems.
I don't know that Santa would be as susceptible to crucifixion, but Jesus allowed himself to be crucified.
Let's give Santa the old Roman salute and see what happens to him.
Well, I would do that if we had him here to do it too. I mean,
Let's crucify Santa.
we can crucify Santa.
Let's do it.
All
Come
right.
on, Santa. Get over here. Let us crucify you. Where's he at?
Santa!
Oh come on, guys! Like you guys could take
He
fucking
didn't show.
Santa.
He
I'm
didn't
not trying
show.
to take him. I mean, we're just trying to
crucify him.
see what's going on here.
I mean, he's gonna deliver a lot of toys. He's not gonna allow himself to be crucified.
I gotta go with Jesus.
It's easy. It's Jesus.
Yeah, it's
dude.
Jesus.
Winner!
When Jesus.
Pretty much no doubt there.
The next question, though: who offers the better deal?
I will reserve judgment until we've gone through both deals. It's a sound business principle.
So let's now this is mostly just going to be kind of discussion based, but let's just go over real briefly the deals these guys offer, and then we'll have some points for further discussion. So with Santa, the basic deal boiled down to its essence is be good all year, and I'll give you a bunch of cool presents on December 25th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
The
like it.
basic deal of Jesus is accept me into your heart as your Lord and Savior, and I will give you an immortal paradise.
Whoa.
So, further discussion. Let's start with the further discussion on Santa first. So, one of the first questions that occurs in my mind, and you guys are free to venture off into other territory as well when examining these deals. What constitutes good or nice for Santa? Because it's kind of vague. Jesus has a whole book that kind of gives you some sort of overview about the kind of behaviors he expects of you.
I would say it kind of seems contingent upon what your family standards of good are. Because it's like, remember, like your parents are always threatening you, like you're going to be on the naughty list. So like, it seems there is collusion between your parents and Santa.
So you kind of feel like Santa's not necessarily going by his own standards. He's going by the standards that your parents set out.
It seems
what
to
if
me
you got-
that
what if you
Santa
got
cares most about that type of stuff. Like,
yeah.
the stuff that would be considered bad in the eyes of your parents, that's the naughty stuff. And the nice stuff is the stuff that, helps out the parents around the house, is pleasant and polite and all of that stuff. I mean, it wasn't as up in the air as you think. I remember being a kid, and I remember the standards that Santa expected. I had to be nice to people. I had to share my toys.
Yeah.
I had to say please and thank you. You know what I mean? Wash my hands after dinner, go to bed without bitching about it, listen to mom and dad, do good in school. There was definitely a series of rules.
Now, how stringent do you feel like Santa's standards are there? Like, because obviously no one's purely good and nice all year the fuck round.
Right.
Clearly you're going to mess up sometimes. How much of a how much messing up do you think Santa tolerates?
Well, I can tell you he tolerates quite a bit of messing up. He's not super stringent. It's not like if you fuck up on one of those, you got no chance. Because I never got coal in my stocking as a kid, and I did some pretty bad shit.
So Santa's like, he's trying. His heart's in the right place.
In fact, I don't know that I know anybody that ever got coal.
As long as you're
So I
trying
think,
to.
like, you got to be like a total fucking psychopath to get coal from Santa.
So let me ask you this. Is it worth it to be good all year for a few trinkets every Christmas?
Kid me says yes.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, Santa doesn't give presents to adults, so I can't really say from an adult perspective. But from a kid's perspective, yeah, the prospect of getting a sock full of coal versus the new Transformer or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a definite positive.
All just for saying some pleases and some thank yous.
Right.
And,
I remember the Christmas where Santa brought me the N64. So was it worth it, dude? I mean, yes.
So is there any way in which you feel like Santa offers a raw deal?
Not really.
You think it's a pretty fair deal?
I mean, given the fact that he's so fucking lax on his interpretation of it. Because if you're, everybody got in trouble all year.
Yeah.
And Santa was still like,
Santa forgives you at the end, and he gives you some toys anyway.
All right. Well, let's ask ourselves about the Jesus thing. So Jesus offers you immortality in paradise, in exchange for you accepting him into your heart as your Lord and Savior. So you got to really.
They died for
He
your
expects
sins.
a lot more out of you, but arguably he gives you more out of it too, because he's not just giving you some trinkets every Christmas.
Because where's that N64 now, Scotty?
Right.
Stevie has it.
Collecting dust somewhere, Scotty. You haven't touched it in years, but yet you could be in eternal fucking paradise.
So one of the questions I have about it is, how do we really know heaven's that great? Because why we can't see it until we're dead. There's not a lot of descriptions of it in the Bible. We did a whole episode about how vague the promise of heaven actually is.
Yeah, I think they described the actual city that heaven was more than what goes on there or what it's like to be there.
Right. So we don't really know a whole lot about heaven. And it seems like kind of weird that we got to totally swear our allegiance to this dude.
Well, also
just to even have the possibility of even seeing it, and it's this big X factor because we don't even get it till you're dead.
Well, you get a fucking whole guilt complex even before you go to heaven. So you have to believe you're a sinner. So you have to believe in the concept of sin. Then you have to believe you have to be forgiven for sin, and the only way to do that is with accepting Jesus as your Lord and Savior and fucking turning your life over to Him. So I mean, Jesus is also asking a lot more. He's offering you more, but He's asking for a lot more.
But do we even know that what He's offering is all that great?
I don't know.
A lot. I mean, a lot
gotta be dead.
A lot of places, they'll fucking tell you about how great they are. I mean, you guys were talking about how shitty Disney World is. before this. Now, they obviously advertise that as the greatest fucking place on the damn planet.
Well, they're lying.
But you get there, and it's a horrible, crowded, fucking loud, noisy, irritating mess.
Here's the thing, too, TJ.
What if heaven's the same fucking way? Then you're stuck there for all time. Because you didn't, there's no sampler. It's not like Jesus gives you all right, you're allowed to spend a day in heaven to see if it's for you, and then you decide.
That's what I'm saying. The Jesus deal, you're dead. So there's.
He almost seems like he's selling you like a timeshare or something.
I mean, with Santa, like every year, Santa delivered on his end of the bargain.
So what about these and plus, with Jesus, there's a lot of other rules. It's not really, he makes it sound so simple. Just accept me in your heart as your Lord and Savior. But what do you have to do to a Lord? You have to obey the Lord.
Yes.
Right.
And there's a lot of fucking crazy ass rules in that book of his.
There's
man.
a whole facility though, like even Catholics are like, all you got to do is confess that you've done wrong and then apologize for it.
But you got to be real contrite about it though too.
Sure.
So you got to deal with a lot of guilt and shit, and like, oh, I fucked up, and I slept with the babysitter or whatever the fuck, and then you got to go and confess, and then the priest makes you say a bunch of shit.
I mean, I guess Catholics have to go confess.
That's what I'm talking. I'm talking. Well, you brought Catholics.
Yeah, but garden variety Christians just have to go, Jesus,
please, I'm sorry for what I done.
I'm sorry I stole money from the church. You're
so
forgiven.
Jesus is kind of like Santa in that way. Now, Santa doesn't really require a personal apology, but Jesus, known for being forgiving, right? You come to him, you ask for forgiveness, he's going to forgive you.
Sure, compassion is part of his nature.
But yet it's all predicated upon you acknowledging the power that Jesus has and the fact that you're basically going to be his little slave. Because you have to be. I mean, you're essentially ceding.
Santa really doesn't
all
expect
your authority
you,
to Jesus,
and Santa doesn't really expect you to do that. Santa doesn't really go to you and be like, "You got to be my bitch" or something.
Right.
He just tells you, behave, and I'll do this, and
So it's almost like how much control do you really want to have? Because I mean, if you're fine with going, hey, you know what? I believe in Jesus. I'm buying into that, and a lot of people do. But with Santa, it's like it doesn't even feel like you have to even necessarily be like a Christian. Just like as long as you're good, you're gonna get these presents.
I mean, it all kind of hinges on the paradise being offered. Because if it's like, if everybody gets their own personal paradise, whatever that would be.
That'd be pretty nice.
That's a pretty fucking sweet deal there.
Yeah.
Right.
And I can't really imagine it being sold any other way. Because what's paradise to me is not going to be paradise to the guy sitting next to me. So.
Right. But it's just such an X factor. It's like, it's basically like devote yourself to me for what's inside the mystery box.
Right.
Yeah, do we get a one-size-fits-all paradise? Do we get, like, our own person? I mean,
is it
there's
like...
so many...
But the stakes are a lot bigger, too.
Right.
We're not talking about a fucking teddy bear or an N64 here. We're talking about, like, ultimate eternal bliss, possibly.
Yeah. But we're also talking about a lot more... Like, you're basically devoting your entire self to this guy just to get that.
Right.
So, I mean, like, you're paying a lot higher of a fucking price for it, too. It's not just, like, be nice to your sister or something. It's fucking, you are mine, and you accept that you're mine. And then I'll give you this great thing that you've never seen before. I don't know. I think Jesus' deal seems pretty sketch. I got to go with Santa on this one.
It's sketchy, but it's also the gambling option, too. Because, like,
it's true.
On one hand, you stand to gain an N64. On the other hand, you could... like literally have an eternity of bliss where everything is at your fucking beck and call.
That is
nothing
appealing.
other bothers you. You never, you don't have any of that negativity ever again. It's all just bliss and happiness and everything you ever want to be doing.
Jesus counts on you doing all that heavy lifting in your mind. That's why he keeps heaven so vague, so that you can create in your mind what heaven is, and then you get there and it's like a La Quinta Inn or some shit.
I mean,
La Quinta.
there's a chance that it's the rope-a-dope
with a shitty IHOP attached.
But
to it.
you have to admit, there's also a chance that it's exactly like life
It's
on the
just a matter of
holodeck
whether you want to
forever.
roll them dice or not, I guess.
Yeah.
I think that it just seems like a shady deal. It seems like a scam.
Isn't it the age-old thing? Do you want like your earthly rewards? Or do you want your fucking
bird in the
celestial fucking paradise?
Bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Santa's got a proven track record. Jesus don't.
Yeah. Going by the way I've lived my life, I have to go with Santa. I'm going for the hedonistic earthly pleasures.
All right. Well,
where are you going, Paul?
It doesn't matter, but I'm going with Jesus on this one.
Paul goes
I'm a
Jesus.
gambling man, and I got to tell you, man, N64 is sweet, But living life in the fucking infinite pleasure holodeck for the rest of eternity seems
It's sweeter. Yeah.
seems sweeter.
Sweeter still.
Hey, if that's the deal you get, Paul, then you were right. And when we're roasted in hell, you'll be able to go.
Hoo, 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 hoo. All right, let's ask ourselves.
How do you like your N64 now, Scotty?
That's why I'm roasted in hell. Like,
It's still pretty fun. Lost at Mario Kart again, didn't you, bitch? All right, well, the next question is about personality. Who's more likable? So let's just ask ourselves about that. So every good salesman knows that the key to making a sale is connecting with the customer. And really, both these guys are selling something, as we explored in the previous round. They both have something they expect from you, and they both have something they're going to give you in return. So which of these salesmen do you like and trust more? Let's look at the personality of each. And we'll start with Santa. So we know a few things about the personality of Santa. One of the things we know is he's what's the first word that comes to mind? You're probably going to, you know.
jolly.
Jolly.
yeah.
So he's frequently described as jolly. Though, there is kind of a flip side of that because he is apparently irked by whiners.
Well, who
Because
is
there's that whole thing. It's like, you better not pout, you better not cry, better not shout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to
I mean,
town.
does anyone like whiners, though? I mean,
He doesn't like loudmouths either.
Right.
oh, shit.
So that's, he might not
You better
necessarily
not
be
shout.
down with us. He's, as you expect from a man who rewards kindness, he has a reputation himself for being very kind, convivial, warm, full of good cheer, good humor. He's quick to laugh. He has a big, infectious laugh that's super famous. The
Big boisterous laugh. Yeah.
He's very easily amused. He just has a warm personality. You think of Santa, even though you associate him with the cold and the snow, you associate him himself with a very warm, glowing, friendly, and for a being as powerful he is, approachable kind of fucking feeling.
Dude, Santa's like definitely like. Look, how many times has Santa been a character where he's been the person who approached like the kid or whatever and be like, "It's okay," and he helps him like save Christmas and like teach the kid about the true meaning of Christmas. That's something we haven't really got into, TJ. Santa, like.
Hold on, that's the last thing.
Oh, okay, the
last category is who best captures the true meaning of Christmas.
Okay, well, fair enough.
So hold on to that.
All right,
thought.
well, hold on to that. Then.
But yeah, I mean, but Santa's personality, yeah, he's a warm guy. He's a loving guy. He's just super nice. Maybe a little bit irked by crybabies and whiners and stuff, but I don't know that he's necessarily being.
I mean, Santa doesn't really let that get to him. I mean, the most you're gonna get from Santa if you piss Santa off is a lump of coal.
Well,
That may or
we
may not be
might
true.
find out otherwise.
What?
In a little bit.
What do you mean, TJ?
Well,
What do you mean?
the next category is who's scarier, and you might find
right,
that
well,
Santa has a
all
little,
I've heard,
a little bit of a dark.
all I've heard,
side.
TJ, is he leaves you a lump of coal.
Anyway,
All right.
so what about Jesus? Now, it's a very harsh-looking picture of Jesus.
That's
Let's
stoic.
actually ask his disciples about this, because So here's what they say are 10 character traits of Jesus. This is the Christians, of course, try to emulate Jesus to some extent. So here's some of the things they say Jesus is: compassionate.
Wow.
So Jesus is supposed to be full of compassion. That means he's very empathetic towards people. If someone is hurting, Jesus is likely to feel bad for them. He's even likely to go and try to physically help them with his powers. Try to relieve some of their pain. The fact, this kind of is an Ouroboros to me, though, because it's like you created the universe where this suffering happens, but then they blame it on us because we ate the fruit from the tree, I guess.
The original sin.
So it's like we're to blame for that, even though you knew we were going to do that, but was that you or was that your dad and all that
TJ,
shit?
God warned them.
He did.
He warned them, TJ.
Told him don't eat that goddamn fruit.
It'd be one
That's
thing.
all you have to do. You'll be fucking immortal. You'll live in paradise forever and truly in tune with everything around you.
But stupid-ass humans
Yeah.
just couldn't listen.
Look, TJ, it'd be one thing if God just like left the fruit out and he ate it, and it's like, oh shit, He told him, "Don't eat this fucking fruit, TJ."
So even though he's a master, he's also a servant.
Wow. Humble.
It says here, although he was praised as a great teacher and even had a decent following, he made sure to teach them to be servants by actually doing it himself. In Mark 10:45, Jesus even tells everyone, the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve. So he wants to help you out. He's not here to make you his bitch, although it's kind of the thing you have to do to be, I don't know. It's once again, like a lot of these just seem really circular with Jesus. So I kind of have some issues, but he's loving. He's forgiving, provided that you devote yourself to him. He's committed.
Wow.
Jesus had no lack of commitment whatsoever. Wherever he was,
You think he would need
or
commitment
whoever he was with,
in order to sell you on this paradise thing?
Yeah, he was fully in the moment. Dude.
He's got to be committed to it, you know? He's got to fucking show up every day. He's got to heal the sick. He's got to feed the hungry. He's got to do
doing
all
it.
that.
He's out there. He's doing it. He's prayerful. You know, he's even though he is God, he still apparently is like, yo, God, what's up? It's me, you.
Does he pray to himself?
I guess.
Or does he pray to his dad?
This isn't necessarily a positive attribute in my world. I don't want nobody.
It's like he's talking to himself. It's kind of like schizophrenia.
Yeah.
So a lot of these I kind of have. I think a lot of these need asterisks next to them. Gentleness. Now Jesus, as they admit here, sometimes use stern words, but for the most part, he was like, hey man, that motherfucker punches you in the face. Turn the other cheek, man.
What about when he whooped them moneylenders, though?
Well, that they fucking, like they said, sometimes Jesus like one of those
an
dudes.
Abusive dad.
Jesus is like one of those dudes. No, he's like one of those dudes that's like, he's mostly 90% chill, but if you piss him off, he's going to be super pissed.
Right.
He's really going to be like, he don't fucking goes from 0 to fucking crazy, like in a turn of a fucking dime.
Well, look, because the church knows that the only people making money in the church should be the church. They can't have other people fucking moving on the racket. Come on, guys.
So patience, their justification for this is throughout the gospel, Jesus is clearly portrayed as very patient. After all, he was surrounded by disciples who constantly doubted him, that's a pretty lame disciple, especially if he did all the shit that they claim he did. Like he's walking on water and he's feeding people with like 3 fish and a fucking piece of moldy
At
bread.
that point, fuck.
And they're just like, I don't know about this Jesus guy. It's like, come on.
Like, yeah,
what does he got to do?
I know. What the fuck? Hey, that guy was dead. Now he's alive. Whatever.
But you can't deny that that's a positive attribute. He didn't surround himself with yes men.
That's true.
He kept skeptics around him. And
He had a doubting Thomas.
Yeah.
Yep. Self-control. That's important. I don't have a lot of that. I don't think any of us do. Maybe Scotty has a little.
A smidgen.
Jesus spent time being tempted by the devil in the wilderness, which, by the way, obviously the devil is, like, super renowned for his ability to be like, yo, check this out. Come over to my side and get – he's a very tempting fucking offer. And he offered Jesus food, power, and many other things, which I don't know why food would have tempted Jesus. He could make food, as it was demonstrated, but whatever. Jesus controlled his desires and submit – like – is that really a sign of? Jesus knows that his father is more powerful than the devil, according to the fucking Bible, right? So,
right,
it'd be like, I will align myself with this lesser faction for no reason. So, it's pretty easy to not fucking fall for that if you're Jesus.
The devil did tempt him when he was at his lowest, though. When he's starving to death in the fucking desert, it's pretty. It's a lot easier, especially if for whatever reason, the more powerful being that you do dedicate yourself to isn't providing any food.
Yeah, and the devil's like, hey, I'll give you something.
I got
you know what?
Food.
When you got that Messiah card to play it, dude, that just makes it like.
Well, that kind of brings it.
You can do it.
I mean, the fact that Jesus wasn't able to bring to summon those things up for himself kind of does speak to the fact that at least in human form, his power does have limitations.
But did he actually have to suffer, or did he just?
Was he?
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like,
well, then he wouldn't have been. He wouldn't have been tempted by the things the devil offered him if he could provide them for himself, right?
But it's not clear. I don't
know.
You could assume that, but maybe Jesus was, like they said, because of this divine plan, he had to suffer.
Yeah, if he could turn water into wine, why didn't he turn sand into hamburgers?
Well, when you think about that, makes it even worse because he's doing it. He has to do it to himself.
Right?
Maybe. I don't know if that makes sense, but whatever. It's religion. It
none of it makes sense.
Number 10, humble. I don't know. I mean, he seemed kind of maybe not so humble.
Dude, he was super humble.
Anyway, so these are what Christians think of Jesus. I don't know. I have serious kind of caveats towards a lot of these based on the behavior of Jesus, but here's how his followers view him. So, you got to kind of factor in that stuff, I guess.
Right.
So the larger question we're here to figure out, I guess, is who's more likable? And I mean, the thing is, we know more. Like, it's kind of there's a certain unfairness going on here, I feel like, because we know so much more about Jesus because there was a big, bunch of books written about him and what he was doing and all this stuff. Santa's a lot more vague, and the stuff we know about him is just kind of like, he's jolly, he's nice. Whereas Jesus is a lot more well-developed of a character, so it's like, his attributes, even though I can find more issue with him, it's because he's more complex. So I don't necessarily want to just say, like, well, Santa's all these positive attributes. Jesus, I can make a few criticisms of, so therefore, Santa just wins and runs away with it. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know. Why don't we just throw it up for discussion for a minute?
I don't think the cultural perception of Jesus is negative. I mean, even amongst, people who are not Christians.
Right. I mean, I think, Jesus is a compassionate figure, and he definitely said some good things, so.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't think it's necessarily it's all just negative about Jesus and Santa's just great. I mean,
he was clearly willing to help people. I mean, he went around healing people. But if you say, well, he's the personification of God, God
it's hard
fucking
to like
brought
someone
that suffering
more
in the first place.
But
so.
it's also, TJ, it's hard to like someone more than the guy that's bringing you gifts every year. I mean, because
Right.
it's like shit you want is being given to you by this fucking being.
But I mean, let's set aside the stuff they're offering. Let's set aside the paradise. Let's set aside this. It's just a matter of
that's a
who's
lot
a
to
more
set
likable
aside.
dude,
Well, I'm going to go with the American political process on this. I'm going to pretend I'm electing a president and see which one of these dudes would I rather have a beer with.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Now,
I mean,
right off the top, you might think, oh, Santa. But think about what that conversation is going to be like. What does Santa know about other than like, oh, yes, this is how you build a microprocessor. And this is, you know what I mean? He knows how to build toys. He knows a bunch of Christmas hullabaloo. Jesus knows everything. Like, you could sit down for a beer with Jesus and get the answer to any fucking question you ever had. You want to hear jokes? You want to sit down and have a jokey night? Jesus invented fucking humor. You know what I mean? He's the basis for all good things. So, I don't know, man. It's kind of tough. Like, I think off the face of it, you might want to pick Santa because of that jolly element. And it certainly wouldn't be awful having a beer with Santa. But I think you'd probably learn more having a beer with Jesus.
But would you want to learn more, Paul?
I guess that's up to you, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, not everyone wants that knowledge.
One thing about Jesus is Jesus was never really portrayed as having much of a sense of humor. So, I mean, I feel like you'd probably have a better time. You might have a more interesting discussion with Jesus.
Yeah, but
I feel like you'd have a better time with Santa. So it's still kind of like
Dude,
almost
I think
like
if Jesus wanted to be hilarious, he could.
But will he want to be? No, he's probably going to want to he's probably going to want to be like, my son, you must give your soul over to me. And
that would be a pretty lame beer.
Yeah, come on, dude.
But if you actually got to sit down and have an intimate one-on-one conversation with the dude, where it wasn't just him dominating by trying to get you to join his cult or whatever. You know what I mean? You could ask him some crazy shit about dark matter and quasars and, other dimensions, and he'd know all that shit.
But what did he tell you even?
I don't know.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, you're assuming that Jesus is going to feel beholden to give you answers. He might just be like, you must follow the lamb, my child, or some bullshit.
Well, here's one cool thing about drinking with Jesus is that because he's able to make his own liquor.
It's cheap.
Like if you're out of beer or something, you could just, you just tell the bartender like, yeah, another water, please. And Jesus is like, bazam. And it's,
Right.
so there's got to be,
dude.
that's a factor too. Now, maybe Santa has that same ability. I don't fucking know. He never explicitly is said to have done that.
I mean, I'm sure he gifts a lot of alcohol, so he's probably going to have some spare alcohol around.
I mean, like, he could probably just reach into his fucking bag and bring out a fucking bottle of Johnny Walker Black Label or something and be like, here you go. It's my infinity bag. I got everything in here.
Man, this one's tough.
Fuck.
Because it all just kind of depends on, like, you can't even really look at it from a who would you have a beer with, because there's no way to tell how either one of these people would be to have a drink with. Son of a bitch. Who's more likable?
Well, think about this though. Here's a question. I think for me this is a little easier. It's like, who would you rather have a hug from? Like, it's like, wow, it's fucking Santa. Wow, it's Jesus. And you're just like, yeah. Now, Santa's fatter, so that automatically gives him an advantage in the hug department, though. Plus, he's wearing that big poofy outfit that'd be all soft and shit.
Yeah, but you want to give Santa a hug. I mean, come on, of course.
I mean, Santa is definitely more huggable than Jesus. I can put that one there. The drinking criteria, I don't know. There's like it kind of evens itself out.
But people being touched by Jesus has created all kinds of crazy things. So getting that hug from Jesus, while it might not be the most warm and inviting hug,
that's true. You might be at the end of it like, oh, my back feels better.
Right.
It's like,
you might be less troubled in your mind.
The healing touch.
Yeah, the healing touch of Jesus, man.
You know what I mean? So even the hug factor is debatable in this one.
Yeah, you're right.
Fuck.
I mean, it's hard, dude.
You can eat Jesus, too.
It's hard because, like, could Santa get on your nerves if he's really super, like, optimistic and, happy and
I feel like there's a
jolly?
good chance that either one of them could get on your nerves.
You know what I mean? Like, if there's, like, someone's, like, super happy and, like, even if it's genuine, you're kind of like, ugh. If you're kind of more of, like, a dour, sour kind of person, like, like I think we are, we kind of hit a point with, like, yeah, it's nice, Santa.
Yeah, I just don't know how long I could listen to Santa go over his naughty and nice list.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Might be like, what the fuck, dude?
But I feel like Jesus would, I don't know, I have an idea in my mind of Jesus as sort of like a very stern, serious kind of guy.
Yeah, I can see that, too.
That's almost like kind of a drag to be around after a while.
I don't know.
Like,
There's a lot of stern, serious people out there that would make interesting conversation partners, though.
Sure. But I mean, like, that part of it could get on your nerves, too, I think, though. Like, if he's, like, really too self-serious and you try to make a joke and he just looks back at you stone face. And you're
but
just
would
like,
Jesus do that? Because if you tell a joke and a person doesn't laugh, it hurts your feelings. So wouldn't Jesus
But
be
Jesus,
like...
I don't know that Jesus cares as much about your feelings, though.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, he's willing to send you to hell for all eternity,
He doesn't want to, though.
Jesus wants you to obey, Paul. I don't remember any part in the Bible where Jesus was talking about how people were sad. He gave a shit, dude. Fuck no. He wants to save you, your everlasting soul. That's his job. His job isn't to make you fucking happy.
Well, ultimately it is. He's offering me fucking paradise.
You can be happy once you're dead, though.
Well,
that's the whole thing.
Once you're risen again.
You can't be happy in this life, Paul. You gotta fucking die and get another life where you're gonna be happy. Don't you understand how the scam works?
I mean, kinda.
I don't know.
It's maybe a little confusing to me, but I kinda get it.
It might just be my antipathy towards religion, but
see, I'm trying to set that aside.
I know. I don't know. I can't. I mean, I'm trying to too, but I can't fully do it. And I don't know. I find that I find myself liking Santa more than Jesus.
Dude, I'll tell you what. If you go around, I know I guess they're fewer and far between than they used to be, but like malls or fucking shopping centers or whatever, there was never a thing like meet Jesus, get a picture with Jesus, get a picture with fucking Santa, dude. There's a reason for that. I'm gonna have to vote Santa.
Well, we have some shit to go by. I've sat on Santa's lap. How great of a conversation was that? Not very.
It wasn't that great.
It was the same shit every year. What do you want?
What do you want? Have you been a good boy this year?
Yes, Santa. What do you want? I want a Ninja Turtle.
Oh, okay. We'll see what we can do. Bye.
But you know what? You got that fucking Ninja Turtle, though.
Sometimes.
I always did.
We were more spoiled than you, I guess.
Santa always gives more to the rich kids. He's kind of classist. It's weird.
Yeah, that's mean.
What the fuck?
That's not a very likable thing. Oh.
Yeah, like I think one year me and TJ got
if you're a rich kid.
We got like 2 PlayStations or something, one for each house.
Jesus.
So
I had to basically suck a dick to get one PlayStation. No, Jesus. I'm going with Jesus on this one.
I knew it.
Paul's just giving.
He's more interesting.
I'm sorry.
Paul's just giving it to Jesus across the board.
I'm sorry, dude.
All right, Scotty, you're the tiebreaker.
Santa.
Yeah.
It's fucking Santa, dude.
Yeah, the Kirk blockade once again.
You're in the bag for Jesus. You're a secret
Rears
Christian.
its ugly head here.
All right, here's another one. This is who is scarier. Now you might even wonder why this is a category, but I think it's because you got the carrot, and the carrot's one thing, but you also got the stick. You got the fucking thing motivating you forward, like I want that, but you also got the thing behind you, like come on, you motherfucker, go.
Right.
So there's give, but there's also take. So let's take a look at Santa's scary side. The scary side of Christmas.
Whoa! This is like fucking creepy, Santa.
Some say that if you're naughty, Santa will leave coal in your stocking instead of presents.
Well, that's not
That
too
isn't
bad.
so bad.
I mean, yeah, you can light coal on fire.
You know? I mean, obviously, it kind of sucks when you're ostracized, when everyone else has got the fucking Xbox. What is it the Xbox One? Is that the new one?
Yeah.
Okay, when you got your Xbox One or Xbox XK Ultra Double Plus Good Mega System.
Yeah,
And then everyone else has got that, but you got a fucking little lump of coal, and you're like, man,
It sucks.
But, it's just kind of like, that's a shitty.
That's not really malevolent, though.
That's a shitty day.
That's just not a great gift.
But, according to some legends, Santa pals around with some nefarious characters like this fellow here,
Whoa.
who we've seen a resurgence in popularity in modern times. This is Krampus, of course, who, according to many traditions, is one of the companions of St. Nicholas, in several regions, including Austria, Bavaria, Croatia, the Czech Republic, Hungary, northern Italy.
So Santa chills with this guy?
Yeah, this is a friend of Santa's. And according to centuries-old legends, if a child misbehaved, St. Nicholas, in his omniscience, would know. And he would send his associate Krampus. So Santa, this guy is not operating independent of Santa. Santa is telling this guy, hey, here's where this bad kid is.
He's like Santa's toady.
Right. And
I'll rough this kid up.
Oh, this is like good cop. This is good cop, bad cop, dude.
so it was said that this dark partner with a serpentine tail would turn up to the house during the Christmas season to punish the wicked child. He would beat him with a bundle of sticks, whip him with horsehair, and throw him into a sack or whisker basket to take him down to hell for a year.
Holy shit.
Yeah, if you fuck up and you misbehave too badly,
You're going to hell.
Santa's gonna tell this goat demon thing
Oh my
to
God.
come beat the shit out of you and take you to hell for a whole year, and then next year he'll let you out again. It's like, you better behave this year, motherfucker.
Dude, look on the right. The girl was good. She gets a fucking.
And she don't even care about her brother. Like, her brother's like, cool.
She's getting stuffed in the
Yeah,
fucking
she
wicker
gets a bunch of
basket.
delicious fucking apples, and he gets stuffed in a fucking wicker basket to be taken to hell. I mean, would you be questioning that?
Dude, why does Krampus have like one wolf foot and one hoof?
Because that's just how Krampus rolls.
All right,
Holy
TJ,
shit.
imagine you're the kid on the right. If that was me being shoved into that fucking basket, like, would you be contesting it?
Not if you had a big bowl of Twinkies in front of
Yeah,
him.
that's what I'm saying. You'd be like,
Sorry, eating.
fuck you, Scotty.
So look, Santa may not do the torture and abuse himself, but he endorses it, and he aids in it. So, he calls the shots. He tells Krampus, he knows exactly what these kids are going to be going through, and Santa does not give a fuck. So Santa's got a fucking stern side.
But you know what?
He's got a dark side. He's got a side that's like, yeah, you can go to hell for a
TJ, but
year.
you said that happens in only some countries. Doesn't seem like Santa does that everywhere. I
Well,
don't remember hearing about that around here.
I don't know. It's starting to get popular around, there's that big box office hit, Krampus, a few years back and stuff.
Well, until I hear about it happening around here, TJ, I ain't worried about it.
But at the end of the day, what is a year in hell? This motherfucker, he ain't going to give you no year in hell. He's going to send you to hell for all eternity.
Oh, he ain't doing it, TJ. It's your sins.
Right.
Yeah,
If
you're
you
sinning
refuse,
yourself.
if you refuse to accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, he will condemn you to an eternity of suffering in the misery and despair of hell. And you're never going to get out. No matter how much you repent, no matter how much you beg for forgiveness, no matter how much you say, I was wrong, Jesus, please save me. He doesn't care. He's jerking off to those pleas for mercy. He's like, yeah, you had your chance,
Well, it actually does
bitch.
say in some in one of the books they removed from the Bible that there actually will be universal salvation.
Well, they removed that for a reason.
Yeah, of
'cause
course.
Jesus is not like that. Jesus is a
He
fucking
changed his
straight up
mind.
dick about that.
He realized, like, wait a minute, if everyone gets in, and it's no matter what they do,
They
got to
obey me.
they need more incentive to.
I don't really. I mean, unless you guys can convince me otherwise, I got to give this one to Jesus. He's willing to fucking send you to hell for all time. Santa's only willing to send you for a year. So
Yeah.
Yeah, no contest, dude. I don't want to fuck with Jesus.
Yeah. I don't want to fuck with either of them. I don't want a goat demon coming after me either. But yeah, I think Jesus would be the worst one to fuck with.
Yeah, you definitely want to. You definitely trifle. Santa's too nice to send you to hell for all time. He's like, a year in hell. That'll teach you.
Yeah, I mean, that seems a little more reasonable.
So the next question is a matter of who is more marketable. Now, this one might be like kind of like, I feel like this is another one where you're going to have like an instant sort of answer to it, but maybe that instant answer is not necessarily the correct answer. So here's 24 iconic Santa Claus advertisements from the past 100 years. So Santa is basically an advertising whore and has been for quite some time. So here he is advertising White Rock water. Whoop-de-fucking-do.
Damn, he's got a sleigh filled with water.
Yeah. Which is weird because there's snow everywhere, and this is before horrible pollution, so I guess this is kind of like we're starting the industrial age
he's got a couple of toys, too.
Santa's pimping cigarettes,
Damn.
Turkish cigarettes. Murad, the Turkish cigarette. When I asked the grown-ups to judge for themselves what Xmas present they wanted, they all chose Murad, the Turkish
Oh,
cigarette.
shit, Santa has to bring this for them. Fuck.
And Santa's got that. He's got it going on, and he's protecting the beard, too, because he's got like a little holder that it's in to keep his beard from yellowing and stuff.
Tipperillo.
Whitman's chocolate. We learned about them a little bit during the one of the candy episodes.
I mean, come on, dude. Santa's pretty fat. That's pretty believable.
Esso lube.
Not so much. What?
Yeah, get some Esso lube. I think it's some kind of car thing, I guess. Bell telephone systems. What the fuck has happened to Santa? He's something horrible.
He's
has
turned
happened
into
here.
a telephone.
Yeah, I didn't know that was one of his abilities, but apparently it is. He pimped Time magazine subscriptions. Another cigarette brand. This time he's pimping Camel.
He likes Camels.
I like this portrayal of Santa right here, dude.
That's a very, very jolly looking Santa, dude.
That is a pretty good one.
He's pimping some Camel cigarettes. Coca-Cola, of course, to this day.
Yeah, Santa has got a real lucrative Coke contract.
Yeah. Jell-O, eating that shit. And there on the table awaiting his call was a huge bowl of Jell-O, a fine treat for all.
Oh, they're trying to say instead of leaving cookies, leave Santa Jell-O.
Yeah, it's like, don't bother with him. Santa don't need no cookies. He wants Jell-O now. Which, if you want Jell-O over cookies, that's pretty sad.
Yeah, no.
Ho-Ho Hoover. So he's shilling a bunch of appliances
man,
and
come
shit. His little pocket camera.
Little Kodak action.
Kodak
Another
pocket
good Santa there.
Instamatic camera.
It's a pretty good Santa there.
He looks a little crazy, but that's okay.
Yeah, his cheeks aren't really rosy enough.
He's trying to take a picture, dude.
But
Typewriters. Smith Corona typewriter. 1977. Quaker sugar cookies. There he is.
delicious.
Chilling with the Quaker guy.
Damn, I didn't know Santa chilled with Mr. Quaker.
Yeah, they're friends. They're
I
buddies.
mean, normally,
Holy fuck, that changes everything.
he doesn't give an audience to many people, but clearly he's like, let's
Mr.
have some
Quaker
milk
gets to
cookies.
chill with Santa.
An old-fashioned Christmas with an old-fashioned Christmas cookie. Seagram's Crown Royal. 'Cause,
Hell yeah.
Santa likes to get boozed up.
I mean, he's got a red nose and,
gotta have something to wash those Turkish cigarettes down with, you know what I mean?
Santa's a drinker and a smoker. He also drinks milk, though, too, because it goes well with cookies.
Milk, yeah.
Unfortunately, this ad is no longer up on YouTube, but yeah, you remember the Got Milk ad with
course.
Santa, I think. Sunglasses. I don't
Blue
know.
blockers.
I don't know why he needs that on a dark night, but he does. M&M's. This is
Yeah.
a famous. They've played this commercial on TV since '96. Like every year they play this.
Dude, you know what the longest running Christmas commercial is?
What?
The Hershey Kisses bells.
Oh yeah, that's a good.
That
one.
was around when I was like
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
5, and they're still using it every
Yeah,
year.
some of these Christmas commercials they just stay in circulation because people have nostalgia for the commercials. Hewlett Packard.
I want an HP.
Decathlon. I don't know what that is, but Santa pimped it. Nico motion detectors.
Santa's in prison here. Not looking great.
Burglar proof movement detectors. They're claiming that their system is gonna. This is obviously not the real Santa because he's way too skinny.
They're saying it's so good it will catch Santa.
Yeah, which it's not gonna do.
Right.
No.
So in 2011, Santa, even though he's iconically a Coke advertising shill, Pepsi tried to fucking whore it.
No, Pepsi
Pepsi's
don't
like,
do it.
Santa likes Pepsi too. It's like, no, he doesn't. Don't lie about Santa. The iPhone, Chevrolet, Ready Whip. Santa, let's just be real here. Santa is a fucking marketing whore, dude.
Yeah, he's definitely.
If you've got a product, Santa will shill that shit. And the fact that he's done ads for both Coke and Pepsi.
I mean, come on, who's done that?
Dave Chappelle's the only other one I know.
I'm sure Santa has sold way more properties than we've covered here too. I mean,
this is just 24 examples.
Right.
I mean,
he's everywhere.
These are iconic ones.
Because look, how many characters as popular as Santa aren't owned by somebody?
Right.
So anybody can be like, yeah, Santa likes our product. It's the easiest endorsement in the world, and that's why. And you can't really do it with Jesus because then it's, this is sacrilege, to say Jesus wants our pancakes or whatever.
It's a secular version of that.
So Jesus is not as marketable, but maybe he is, because let's remember, Jesus shells a lot of his own products, such as, remember this thing?
Yeah, the What Would Jesus Do armbands.
Super popular in the 80s and 90s, big trend of these What Would Jesus Do things. Everybody had a What Would Jesus Do bracelet. It was like that cool thing to do. Even people who weren't super Christian were like, yeah, man, what would Jesus do?
So brain dead.
Probably wouldn't look to his bracelet for advice, but whatever.
Hey, bracelet, what life decision should I make?
Remember, we can't fucking underestimate top read book in the world.
Well, we know that's actually not true.
Top grossing book.
Well, that might be true.
Look at this shit. Quotations from Chairman Mao Zedong.
Great.
So
the top two
Chairman
books are
Mao is
terrible.
pretty close, but not really, because I mean, Jesus is far and away the Holy Bible, like woo.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings, I'm fine with.
I mean, like, so you can't deny though, as a piece of merchandise, Jesus is moving units. He's moving those units, whether people are actually reading it or they're just buying it, whatever. Jesus is selling that book. And think about all the shit every fucking time you've seen someone wearing a cross necklace,
Crucifixes.
hanging a cross in their home, got a picture of Jesus in their home.
Rosaries.
All merchandise.
Paintings
Dude,
of Jesus.
I was even driving down the road. I saw like the Jesus truck, dude. It was like a semi with like a huge cross on it and a bunch of Jesus shit.
Yeah,
dude.
bumper stickers.
They even make that so, dude. If they have like trucks like that, TJ, then like, look, you can put Jesus on pretty much fucking anything you want, dude.
And look, this is let's just go to a Christian store here.
Yeah, Christian bookstore.
It's not just Christian; it's all stuff.
Well, yeah, like when you say Christian bookstore, they sell a bunch of Jesus and Christ.
Right? They
Christian
got
shit.
Christmas stuff that's on clearance right now. They got Bibles. They got kids stuff. They got toys. They got gifts. They got music. They got bargains. They got homeschooling supplies.
Oh God, you know your market. That
They
for
got
sure.
books and more Christmas stuff and church supplies and Bible study aids and DVDs and gift cards and promotions and books galore and calendars and planners and coloring books and outfits and retirement shit and piano instructions and whatever the fuck else. Anything you can slap Jesus' name on, they have done it and they are selling it.
Yep.
So you can't deny, like, look, Santa Claus and Jesus are both total marketing whores.
Yep.
It's just a matter of which one has whored themselves out the most. And it's kind of another thing where it's difficult to judge because it's in such different ways.
We even got into the fact that many of the followers of Jesus Christ every week ask their flock for money.
Sure, yeah. I mean,
Well,
like,
that's what I was going to talk about.
you could just
because
straight up, like,
yeah,
give us
so I
money
mean-
just for
I mean, yeah.
being-
when you're talking about who's more marketable, who's got the better business strategy here? Santa, who's doing basically advertising for everybody and paying tax money on it, or Jesus, who's just raking in money for no benefit whatsoever. Like, he's not even selling a product. He's just like, give me money, and there's no tax taken out of it.
But he does sell products as well, too.
Right. Well, those are people that are selling products on Jesus'
Yeah.
name. Jesus isn't like, appearing on the well, sometimes he is, I guess.
Yeah, sometimes.
Son of a bitch.
Sometimes a lot of it's just like nice editions of his book. So
But
I mean,
Jesus, any businessman would probably rather pay Jesus' tax rate than Santa's. You know what I mean?
well, yeah.
Santa's having to file a fucking, file for taxes every year. Jesus doesn't.
Well, it's also an exchange of goods there. Like
Right.
with this, like with Jesus, a lot of times there's no exchange of anything.
But you got to think about this other thing, too. It's like a lot of this stuff that you're selling on these Christian stores and stuff is stuff that's like real niche to like fundy Christian people. Whereas like everyone's drinking fucking Coca-Cola and all this stuff. Like the stuff that Santa's selling is so fucking mainstream. It's in every
It's also
fucking
limited,
store.
though. It's also limited to this time of year for the most part. Every once in a while, you'll see an ironic Santa commercial in the summer, but 99% of Santa ads are only really worth a shit from about
During
Thanksgiving through the first of the year.
Of course, it seems like America is making a concerted effort to make Christmas longer and longer every year.
Jesus is on sale 365 days a year.
365, that is true.
There's no time of year.
It's like, oh, it's Jesus season again.
Right. All seasons are Jesus season, so you got to look at that angle too.
That's very true. I would say, though, Santa stuff is more mainstream, and, Jesus stuff is a little bit more tailored
But
market
I would say
to the
Jesus-
fucking sort of Christian fundamentalist market, which is
Well,
probably like
TJ,
20-30% of the country's
but Jesus has a
ultra
greater-
fundy kind of Christian shit.
He has a greater international appeal because there's some countries, remember, they don't believe in Santa Claus or know anything about
There's
Santa.
there's some countries that don't give a fuck about Jesus either. They don't
But
give
I
a
would say
fuck.
most countries know or at least heard about Jesus. I mean, I don't know.
Whether or not
TJ.
they give a shit, though. They're not buying any Jesus over there.
And we're talking.
A lot of places are buying Jesus, though.
Yeah, well, a lot of
Jesus
places
probably ain't selling a whole
Santa's
bunch
pretty
in
popular
China.
in a lot of places too.
Santa, I guarantee you, is selling shit all over fucking China and shit.
Yeah, China.
Well,
There
for
is
sure.
Chinese Santa and stuff, but I mean, they don't. Even places that don't celebrate Christmas and don't give a fuck about Christmas, at least in terms of like as a Christian holiday, have some kind of Santa thing going on. A lot of them do anyway. So it's kind of hard to know, but there is that to be considered that Santa's pretty much.
It's limited.
He's got about 3 months out of the year where, he's kind of a thing, and then, we put him aside, but he always comes back next year. We're always eager to see him again.
I mean, he's
always
definitely got
eager
a
to
good-
let him shill some more products to us.
He's got a good deal going on, but,
Well, let's remember, too, that Santa kind of is the iconic figure that presides over the biggest capitalist gangbang season of the entire American fucking calendar year.
This
when
is
it's just
true.
like, buy, consume, buy, consume, buy, consume. And he's kind of like the guy that they're slapping his face on everything to sell us on that shit. Like, Santa says buy it. And it's not just kids he's pandering to. Like, it's adults. Like, yeah, buy this appliance. Santa says this toaster's good. Like, what the fuck does Santa know about toasters? Who gives a fuck?
But you know what?
But
You have to admit-
he still sells
you
it.
have to admit, if there was two toasters and Santa's holding one and some other dumb character's holding one, you're probably gonna be like the Santa one.
And if Jesus is holding a toaster, people are going to be like, that's sacrilegious. How dare you have Jesus
Yeah, so you
hawk a
can't-
toaster?
Oh man, it's tough. But
Santa's definitely allowed to hawk more shit than Jesus is.
well, yeah. I mean,
yeah, there's no sacrilege with Santa. You can slap his
you can slap
face
his ass on
him.
whatever you
it
want.
doesn't matter.
We could we'll put his ass right here on the. I mean, obviously Santa and Jesus will be on the thumbnail. For
I
this
remember
video,
back
but-
in the day seeing Playboy ads with Santa in them.
Yeah.
yeah.
Santa's even he's even peddling smut to you.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to fucking say once again though, because the stuff that Jesus markets is directly Jesus though. Like no
Yes.
one buys, no one's buying the gospel of Santa. No one's buying something just because of Santa. It's like,
Well, you know what?
but popular brands are using Santa to
Hey, no,
sell
there's
shit. but-
products there's
Sure.
Taylor bought a fucking pillow with Santa's face on it, dude.
I'm not saying he doesn't sell no merch that's just
They sell a
because
lot
of
of
him.
Santa merch, dude. A lot of the shit has Santa's face plastered on it. So I don't know.
Just Santa suits alone are probably a
I mean,
billion
I don't
dollar
know,
industry.
TJ.
Hell, we own one.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know, man. It's fucking tough. I mean, and the fact they're competing. I mean, we haven't even talked about fucking competing for the birthday shit. I mean, look, it's like, man, it's just, I don't know, TJ.
This is a hard one.
This is like the most challenging one yet because they're both super marketable.
They both have limitations.
They both have huge audiences,
but
man.
they're both. I mean, look, Santa's shilling fucking Coke. He's shilling Pepsi. He's shilling appliances. He's shilling booze.
He's shilling anything.
Cigarettes. He'll shill anything. Because, like we said,
Jesus is shilling dreams though and
Yeah.
hopes.
Yeah, Jesus.
Like he literally
You
found
literally
a way
can-
to
yeah.
monetize hope.
Yeah, you literally just go into a building and they pass around a plate and you just put money in it, and that's it. You don't even
walk out with anything.
Jesus is so marketable that you can just literally get nothing for your money.
Right. I don't know how you beat that.
Everlasting life, TJ. Everlasting life.
Santa has to do all these shoots and shit. Jesus just sits back and rakes in the dough.
But think about this, though. Santa is kind of the ultimate marketing thing because, look, every year you're expected as a kid to make a list of all the stuff that you want and to give it to Santa, and he's going to hook you up.
I mean, yeah. Every year petitioning Santa.
So I
for
mean, like
these
you're
gifts.
literally being told as a kid, sit down and make a list of consumer goods that you want.
Right.
Jesus has never done that.
He doesn't but he doesn't have to. That's
Jesus
the thing.
has never done that.
There's costs incurred making those products and shit. Jesus doesn't even have to have a product. He just literally sells you happiness for cash.
Not even that.
The promise of happiness.
Yeah,
The promise of good fortune.
the promise that something good will happen down the line if you give this money now.
Yeah, it's almost like a casino marketing ploy.
But the best thing is that you'll be dead, so it doesn't matter.
You're probably not gonna win, but you could.
You might win. A lot of Christians use the analogy of
it
like,
is the better
plant this
scam.
little seed. Plant this little seed, and then it will grow into a tree of prosperity.
I mean,
you know?
you have to admit, TJ, Jesus gets all of your money or a lot of your money, and then you're dead, and it doesn't matter.
Look,
like
Jesus-
Santa. I mean, like you could stop giving Santa money.
Jesus clearly
not giving
has
Jesus
a
money,
better
but-
scam, but does that is that necessarily make him more marketable?
But you know, we also have to look at the fact that less people are religious now too, TJ. So
that's true. Jesus'
I mean,
influence
that's-
is kind of waning.
his
Church
influence
attendance is down. Christmas is more popular than fucking ever. I think the amount of we have 75% of the population in this country believes in God, some kind of God, not necessarily Christian,
Higher power, whatever,
higher
yeah.
power, whatever the fuck, or maybe it's 75% are Christian. I don't know, but 75% are Christian. 94% celebrate Christmas. So Christmas is actually kind of more popular than religion at this point. So that
There's a lot of
At
factors.
least here, I mean, you know, like the Catholic Church is still got wide swaths of the world.
Oh,
under
sure,
its
sure.
thumb.
Yeah. That's
So-
true. I'm talking about America, I guess.
Right.
So, but yeah, there's religion still. You gotta look global with this shit.
Yeah, and some countries don't like are not. I mean, they're super atheistic, so they probably don't really care that much about.
But even those
Jesus.
atheistic countries are still, a lot of them are still doing Christmas. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
they're still celebrating Christmas, and
They don't give a fuck
Santa's
about-
around or whatever.
they don't give a fuck. They're still got some. Oh, it's Father Christmas. Ha ha ha.
Exactly.
Even though they're like Jesus. It's a myth. So, it's kind of.
I mean, it would be. I think in order for Santa to compete, he would literally have to be able to get money from people without even giving them anything. You know what I mean? The fact that he has to deliver a good in his business model, to me, like, that's one level of marketability, is if you can use your face and your presence to sell a product. If there's no product at all and you can just use your presence to get money from people, I mean, I don't know a business in the world that wouldn't take that deal.
But can you say that though that Santa inspires giving though? So Santa can actually inspire people to give something for no monetary return.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they're still having to spend.
Yeah.
They're still having to pay, you know, the piper. Whereas with Jesus, and there's still a good being exchanged. With Jesus, a lot of times, most of the money that flows through Jesus' operation is just laid there by people. You know what I mean? I don't know how you beat that. Because like I said, I don't know any of these corporations. Like if Coke could make more money selling people nothing, they'd do it in a fucking heartbeat. You know what I mean? They'd be like, oh, we don't have to fucking
No
pay
bottom line?
Yeah, we don't have to pay the overhead on all the bottling and, you know, people to fucking ship it and shit. We can just...
Yeah, just give Coke money.
And they don't even have to pay taxes on it. Not, I mean, that's a separate kind of matter, but
Yeah, what anyways.
yeah, I think you got to give it to Jesus on this one. I mean, like,
just by a hair.
I think that Santa's marketability is more robust, but I mean, like, I really can't. I don't have a counter argument to the fact that Jesus can literally sell people nothing for money.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, how do you beat that?
I mean, that's the
It's-
ultimate dream of every business person. You know what I mean?
I mean, like, if we could do that, we'd do it. Who
Get-
would like?
Get
we
rid
don't-
of
we don't-
all of the stuff you have to produce.
Our new Patreon. We developed a new Patreon. Our perks are nothing.
Will there be still
Give
be a
us
show? No show.
No show either. Just give us money.
Yep.
That's it.
That's what we do here. now.
Bye.
So far, we got Jesus in the lead, 3-2. The
Yeah.
next question is
Still could go either way.
who's got the better look? And for this, obviously, there's some slight variations in interpretation. So we're gonna go ahead and look at a bunch of different pictures from a Google image search here and kind of determine what the fuck is going on here. So both these guys have a classic look, but it's interpreted in slightly different ways here and there. Let's just kind of go through and take a look here. So Santa, of course, you got the red jacket, red pants, with this white fluffy trim and stuff. He looks dressed very warm. A lot of times he's wearing glasses. Not all the time. Some depictions don't have the glasses. A lot of these.
I like the glasses on my Santa, honestly.
Yeah, it makes him look a little friendlier for some reason.
Yeah, he needs to have these little like reader type of glasses.
See, those glasses are too big.
Yeah, those are not Santa glasses.
Yeah, Santa's glasses
there you go.
should be.
He's got like little reader glasses. Like those are. There's a lot of
big.
bad Santa glasses going on here.
Some Santas don't have any glasses at all, or maybe they're just not wearing them. There's just classic kind of depiction of Santa there. Very friendly, kind of warm sort of presence and shit. Too skinny. It's not a proper Santa. See, this to me, these kind of like Santas here, like that's kind of like the ultimate sort of like Santa depiction. There he is drinking. Now, that's a big, fat, proper goddamn Santa
Santa
right
looks
there.
fucking drunk right there, dude.
Yeah, he's
drunk
like
on coke.
He's like, man, this is fucking coke.
The beard is important on Santa too, because
Yeah, some of these go too short on the beard. You got to have a big, illustrious beard.
it's a consistency thing too, because you can't just have a long, stringy wizard beard. You know what I mean? You got to have like a big curly beard that just like spills out over onto your shoulders. See, like these properly groomed Santas, I ain't with that. You know what I mean? Santa is supposed to have just a giant, wild beard spilling out over his clothes and shit. You know what I mean? He's got to have a big, curly fucking beard.
Yeah, man. I think the Coca-Cola Santa is honestly the best.
I mean, it's pretty decent.
I think they fucking... Let's just look at all the Coca-Cola Santas for a second.
They definitely have captured, the right look for Santa for sure.
See some of these Coke Santas. That one looks a little creepy.
Hell yeah, dude.
I feel like these Coke Santas, they have... This is pretty much like what I see in my mind when I think of fucking Santa.
Well, what they've got down to a T is the fatness of Santa.
They understand how fat Santa's supposed to be, and they understand how ruddy and friendly he's supposed to
Right.
look, I feel like.
Look at that. Look how huge he is. He's giant. You can see his rolls.
Yeah.
He's got like 3 or 4 sets of rolls. That's a big man.
That's roly poly right there, man. That's not like
Yeah,
your
they don't-
little svelte Santa.
You never look at a Coke Santa and go like, nah, he's way too.
See, that...
Perfect.
There's a legit fucking Santa right there.
Fuck yeah, dude.
He's huge. He's like about to bust the buttons and buckle of that belt. You know what I mean? He's about to bust out of that fucking Santa suit. He's
Always
huge.
on the last buckle, dude. It's strained.
And note the beard in all these too.
Yeah, they're
Big.
not
curly,
super well kempt.
spilling out over his shoulders, kind of mixing with his longer hair. That's the kind of Santa you're supposed to see. Look at that. Look at how that beard just frames his entire fucking shoulder and neckline.
Yep.
That's what I'm talking about. That's a proper Santa beard right there. There again.
Absolutely.
Their beard game is on point.
Let's look at some Jesus. So Jesus, a little bit more of a severe kind of look, but still like compassionate eyes. Like a lot of times they put the softness in Jesus in his eyes, you know.
I mean, his look in my mind is every bit as iconic as Santa's. I mean, you can look at a picture and instantly go, "That's Santa."
Yeah,
you can look at a picture and instantly go, "That's Jesus."
That's Santa. That's Jesus. They each have a fucking iconic look. Jesus sometimes even wears the red, but a lot of times you see Jesus depicted wearing white. He's always in the flowing robes. Usually he has long hair. Usually has a more tight, well-kept kind of beard than Santa.
Yeah. It's definitely better trimmed.
Yeah, Jesus is more into beard maintenance, but
He's got longer hair than Santa, though.
Jesus does let his hair hang more, though. So it's like both of them have, like Santa has short hair usually and a long beard. Jesus has long hair and a short beard, and obviously, Santa's a big rotund man. Jesus, kind of, he tends to look a little bit skinny, almost emaciated sometimes, depending on the depiction.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times he's just, average build, average height, average size.
But I feel like a lot of times he's kind of depicted as like being kind of scrawny.
kind of on the thinner side of things.
Well, one thing you have to point out to you, Jay, is like, right, honestly, in this time period, dude, Jesus is kind of hipper, dude. He's got that hipster beard. Santa's got that full beard
So
going
this
on.
is
So
this, by the way, is the guess as to what Jesus actually looked like if there was such a thing,
I see.
person.
Not as iconic a look.
Yeah. So this, but we're not talking about this Jesus. We're talking about this.
The real
Jesus.
Jesus.
yeah,
About the
what-
real,
Yeah. What was
the
that?
real Jesus.
That ain't no real Jesus.
We're not
TJ.
talking about the real Jesus. We're talking about the real
Yeah.
Jesus. There's Jesus with a staff. There he is, kind
Whoa,
of
that's
summing up some magic powers and
Cosmic
shit.
rays,
Is that
dude.
Pink Floyd Jesus?
And there's Jesus does a lot of the same shit. He gets crucified. He fucking heals people.
That diaper is iconic too that he's wearing when he's crucified. You see that over and over
Yeah.
again. That the only dude that I've ever known that
could
could pull off
the
a
diaper, yeah.
As
You saw-
a look,
if you saw Santa in a diaper, you'd be like,
you'd be like,
"Ugh.
"Holy shit,
Oh,
man!"
put
no.
the fucking red suit back on, man." There he is with some crusader shit. Like, yeah, kill people for me.
Thanks.
There's a statue of Jesus looking pretty good there. He's got
Jesus
that.
really likes to put his arms out. I've noticed.
Yeah, Jesus is he's very welcoming. He's very
got a
open.
pose.
He's like, yeah, come to me, my children, my brethren.
He's got a couple of poses that he can go to. It's kind of like Derek Zoolander in that way. He's got a couple of iconic poses he can do.
a very sad-eyed kind of man in a lot of these photos here. So, it's like, two very iconic looks going up against each other there.
What do you think about this angle? Who's got the better look is something that has to be answered by how many people want to emulate the look. Because that's how you decide when a look is in or not, right? When a
I
bunch
really
of
don't.
people are doing it.
I would
I
say
really
it's
don't
true.
feel like I see too many people rocking around in either of those.
Well,
I
I think
disagree,
that
Now,
dude.
in
like
Christmas,
the long hair beard combo has become increasingly popular. It always comes in and out. Like
Sure.
back in the 70s and early 80s, it was big, and then it kind of went out for a while, and now it's back again. You see a lot of dudes running around with long hair and a
facial
beard.
hair kind of goes through trends.
And that's
though.
the Jesus look, man.
Yeah.
He was the one that codified the long hair and the beard as a look. Whereas the Santa look, I mean, a lot of people do it around Christmas, but I don't see a lot of people trying to look like Santa year-round. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't really see too many people walking around in long, flowing robes and shit either. So
I mean,
I guess
TJ,
that's true.
think about this. Who has the edgier look, dude? When I was looking at Santa's pictures, pretty jolly, pretty happy. A lot of those Jesus pictures, a little edgy, TJ.
Edgy look. Yeah, he definitely does
Jesus
have
be
an
looking
edgy look.
down. He'd be like,
it's
doing
hard to pull off
this.
edgy while you're wearing white too. So that is kind of like a bonus point
That's
there.
what I'm saying, dude.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about your edgelord side of yourself.
But I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like maybe that's a weird standard. Is like who's emulating the look because
That's how
I
you
feel like-
decide whether a look is good.
I don't know, man. I feel like you got to stand out from the crowd, and both these guys stand out to me. I don't really see too many people walking around looking like Jesus or Santa, so I don't know. I feel like that's a wash.
Does Santa wear that suit year round, though?
I don't know what does Santa. Yeah, that's a good question. Is Santa wearing the iconic red suit all year round, or
I mean,
is
I've
that like a
seen-
special thing he puts on for Christmas?
I've seen pictures of Santa not dressed in the suit. You know?
Oh, shit.
They'll put him in like Bermuda shorts and a Hawaiian shirt sometimes. I've seen that.
Yeah, we've
Well, we
seen
just
that.
saw that in that Katy
Right.
Perry video a minute ago.
I mean, Santa's pretty iconic still, even with that kind of garb. So, I mean, he's just got a look, man. I don't know.
the same could be said of Jesus though, because you take
Yeah.
Jesus, you put Jesus in a t-shirt and the jeans. He's still gonna look like Jesus. He's just got that face, and you recognize the Jesus face. There's a certain look.
Yeah. This is a tough one, man. I mean, which one would you think you'd be more comfortable dressed as? Because that's another aspect of...
I definitely would look better as Santa because I'm fat.
You'd look better, but would you be more comfortable dressed as Santa?
Well, I'll tell you what. Santa definitely dresses in a more attention-getting way. Because if Santa wasn't Santa, like, you'd expect someone dressed like that to be like a pimp or something. You know what I mean? Like, if there was no established precedent of, like, that's Santa's...
I'm a pimp named Santa Claus.
that's another thing. Is Santa's outfit is a lot more unique than Jesus. Because everybody back in Jesus' time wore some robes and shit.
a lot of people would say that that's just evidence that he's trying too hard, though.
I don't know, man. Santa's been pulling it off, and obviously it's working for him because it's iconic and it's
setting out.
recognizable.
Whereas Jesus just throws on any old daishiki and walks out.
Santa,
He's Jesus.
I don't know. You can make a fucking argument that Santa's got some fucking style there. He's like, look, I got this iconic ass red suit. Everybody knows it. You see it. You know it. I don't have to wear it
Man,
to look like
TJ,
Santa, but
Look, dude,
Yeah.
making a good case for Santa, TJ. But dude, I think I gotta go with I gotta go with the long hair side, dude.
Just because you're long-haired.
And I got.
I mean, like, look at us.
I
Like,
mean, dude,
2/3 of us are rocking the Jesus
I
right
gotta
now.
fucking be Jesus, dude.
Now, when I get a little older, I'll be rocking the Santa, but right now, you know what I mean?
Well,
Got
that's
the-
true. Yeah,
Got
I
the
mean,
Jesus locks going on.
Well, I'll give it to Santa. If you, I was kind of on the fence, but if you guys are both giving it to Jesus, I'll give it to Santa just to split the vote a little.
all right.
That's fine by me.
I think that means that Jesus has won this.
Does it?
Because he has 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes.
Yep. So it's Jesus.
So Jesus has pretty much won at this point, but we'll see how decisive his victory truly is by asking ourselves now, who best captures the true meaning of Christmas? Now, I don't really have anything pulled for this other than just this image here that says, maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. Because this is, we all watched Saturday morning cartoons, and I'm sure we all watched Christmas specials when we were kids.
Yeah.
And if you watch a lot of holiday specials, as you did as a kid, or maybe you still watch them now, I don't know what the fuck. But,
I'll go back and watch some of the
there's
older
a lot
ones
of
sometimes.
there's a lot of fucking to do in a lot of those specials about the quote unquote true meaning of Christmas.
of course.
But it's never, I mean, it's not super clear what the true meaning of Christmas is. Now, it's a lot to do with, like, family
Coming
and
together.
friends and togetherness
Being
and
compassionate.
embracing the spirit of love and, whatever the fuck else.
Giving to those in need, things like that.
So we got to figure out exactly down to its essence what the true meaning of Christmas is and who fits it better, Santa or Jesus. And that's the real fucking question. So, Scotty, what's the true meaning of Christmas?
The true meaning of Christmas.
The true meaning of Christmas. The true
well,
meaning, Scotty.
You listen to what you said. I've read it, of course. When it says maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. Unfortunately, Christmas does come from a store for most fucking people. It's basically just a mindless consumeristic holiday at this point. Any of this other bullshit, I don't have anyone talking about that. It doesn't talk about how much they either hate Christmas or how they love Christmas. And they just can't wait. Christmas is so wonderful. But in my estimation, it's just about people exchanging a bunch of fucking gifts. They're stressed out because they have to fucking make all these plans and do all this bullshit.
So
That to me is
the reality. Look, the reality is here: if your town wakes up and all the Christmas presents are gone from under the tree, and all the fucking food is gone, and all the shit that makes all the celebratory shit is gone from the house because the Grinch fucking stole it, we don't all gather in the center of town and sing Christmas carols.
No, we riot.
People are pissed off. People are like, this fucking sucks.
Yeah, because those are those immediate things that people actually want.
Yeah, I want the fucking feast. I want the presents. I want all this shit.
Yeah, that's why it's all being done. It's just an excuse for people to fucking have all those things.
You take all that shit away. I'm sorry, but it's not just like, well, the true spirit of Christmas resides with maybe that's fine. I mean, we can have all that, but it's not Christmas without that shit.
It's not about what you say, it's about what you do. And I have to agree, if you take that into account, the true spirit of Christmas is buying things, because as much as they try to drill home this Christmas is about love and acceptance and friendship and brotherhood, we still went out and bought things. It's like we watched these specials, we went, oh yeah, that's right, let's express that by going out and buying things.
Try the new Grinch plushie.
So-
Exactly.
So I think we're all in agreement that this is, it really is about the trappings of Christmas, the feast, and obviously family togetherness is part of that, but you're getting together
is.
to give gifts, to receive gifts, to feast together, to have some revelry and maybe drink some and, whatever the fuck else you do during Christmas.
There's a lot of money involved in all of that.
Right. And it's not cheap. It's about, there's money spent, it's consumerism and all that. And, that's part of America and that's part of Christmas. And to try to deny it and say that there's something loftier. I mean,
And a lot of businesses, rely on Christmas.
you can have that belief And you can certainly incorporate that into Christmas, but, at the end of the day, if you don't have no presents and you don't have no feasts and you don't have no drinking and you don't have no revelry and shit and everybody's fucking sad and miserable and hungry, it's not a good fucking Christmas. It's just not. So, that all being said, which of these characters best captures the true essence of fucking Christmas?
I mean, for me, it's got to be Santa.
Yeah, I mean
Santa. We saw him slapped on every fucking type of product imaginable.
Scotty, you agree?
Oh, wholeheartedly.
I agree as well.
I mean, Jesus seems kind of directly opposed at this point, not to side with the Christians before of what Christmas really is. He's about don't buy these earthly pleasures and all that shit.
Santa, you were a competitor. You did a good job. You scored 3 points, but it's not enough to beat Jesus' 4 points.
When you go up against Jesus, how can you possibly walk away thinking you're going to win?
You couldn't beat him. So let's just go over here. The determinations. Who is more powerful?
It's Jesus.
Jesus.
Unanimous.
Who offers the better deal? Santa. Split. Who's more likable? Santa. Split. Who's scarier? Jesus. Unanimous. Who's more marketable? Jesus. Unanimous. Who's got the better look? Jesus. Split. Who best captures the true meaning of Christmas? Santa. Unanimous.
By a country mile, dude.
Final vote. Who's better? Jesus.
It's got to be Jesus.
But the fact that Santa won that last category, I still think Santa has a reason to claim Christmas,
dude.
But you can't have Christmas. I guess the battle rages on. I don't think we really just resolved anything here.
Most people can't get in the ring, TJ, with Jesus and go toe. I mean, look, you put my ass up there. I mean, it's nothing.
Jesus wins.
Yeah, but I mean, almost anybody or almost anything, Jesus. But I mean,
Santa's at least a contender.
He at least got the
he
fucking
wins 12 rounds with Jesus for sure.
Yeah, but at the end, it's gonna be that knockout from Jesus.
But I feel like this is kind of like Rocky, where at the end of the match, Santa's still standing. He's like, "Yo, Mrs. Claus, we did it!" Just because he went the distance, man.
Well, maybe so.
Maybe next year we'll do a sequel.
That sounds like a sympathy for a loser, TJ.
I don't know, man.
Santa was the loser today.
He might have lost.
Beat his fucking ass into the ground.
Yeah, you were in big Jesus pocket, Paul. I don't know who paid you off, but
I don't know what you're talking about, TJ.
You know what? Fuck you, TJ.
This was robbed. Santa should have won.
At the beginning of the episode, Paul said, Santa, Santa, Santa.
I did, and look who went.
And what the fuck, dude?
But he went Jesus almost every category. So Paul's obviously...
No,
he didn't.
He's a liar.
Santa
He's a liar. He's a liar. Paul's a liar.
I voted for plenty
I'll say this.
Santa.
Paul only voted for Santa after he knew Jesus had won.
Yeah.
It's true.
No, that's not true.
I will say
Very
that,
true.
dude.
Very
I voted
true.
for Santa a couple of times. Scroll
Fake
up.
news. Fake news.
We had a couple of unanimous
Nah,
Santa
man.
votes.
I don't see that. Where
It
it
was
happened?
always split.
Oh.
Sorry?
That's what I'm saying.
Up until
See,
then.
that's what I'm saying. The only time he voted for fucking Santa. Dude, Paul's so full of shit, man.
Paul's a secret Christian.
He's so full of shit.
Secret Christian. No, you know what? I don't really feel like it's been resolved as much as definitively as I wanted it to be.
Looks definitive to me.
But
Whose picture is
at
right
the
next
end
to
of the
final?
day, at the end of the day,
Your Lord Jesus.
DFF has spoken. Give yourselves to Jesus,
Not
folks.
Santa.
Yep.
Give yourself to Jesus. Put Christ back in Christmas. He's the reason for the season, motherfuckers.
Don't say
Get out
Merry
there.
Christmas. Say Merry Christ.
Say Merry Christ. Yes. Boy. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Ho, ho, ho.
Hope you guys had a good holiday season.
Ho, ho, fucking ho.
Let us know what sort of neat little nifty presents you might have got or given in the comment section, and wish us a Merry Christmas because we need
You know what?
your love and affirmation.
We do.
I don't care what nifty products you got. Tell me what the biggest fart you ripped during the Christmas season was. That's what I want to know about.
Maybe I can do this time.
Are you going to be able to fart right into the
Can you
mic?
do it?
Let's see.
Is this going to be the biggest one of the Christmas season
We'll
for
be
you?
the magical end of the show. What the fuck was that?
I don't know. It was a
Weak.
fart at least.
Weak, dude.
It was a weak fart, but it was a fart, so
Gross.
it smells pretty bad.
I guess there's that.
Smells like Christmas cookies.
Smell your own fart.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.